And you're very welcome to the penultimate day of competition and the penultimate day of finals here at the 2023 Irish Open Championships. John Kenny with Indy McGill and Nicholas Quinn bringing you commentary on these finals. Well, we got the 100 metres backstroke to start for women. And as usual with the under 200 metres, we're going with a B junior and A final. We will, of course, have some Paralympic swimmers in action as well. It's great to see the likes of Derval O'Brady and Barry McClemens taking part in what are essentially time trials. Then we got the 100 metres backstroke, and I tell you what, it's going to be a really good final this evening. Conor Ferguson looks like he's back to his best, but no Shane Ryan, sadly. He's withdrawn from the A final, so it's all down to Conor Ferguson, who set a consideration time this morning for the World Championships, which is brilliant. Then we go to the 800 metres freestyle. Grace Hodgins looking for another distance medal here. We have the 200 metres freestyle. Jack McMillan is the record holder, but it's been handed over now to the new ones. Evan Bailey, Jack Casson, Finn McKeever, the Olympian, all contesting that. The 200 fly, it's got a B and an A final. And we got Alana Burns-Aiken, fastest qualifier into that. Then we go the 200 metres breaststroke. Dara Green's favourite event. He goes in lane 4, and he should wrap things up there. It's quite considerably ahead of the rest of them, but Oisin Cook and Owen Corby, we've got to keep him honest. Then we got the 200 metres individual medley. Ellen Walsh, who was DQ'd for the 400, going in the 200, and then we've got a 200 metre individual medley final for our para swimmers. But we're going to start India with this, which is the B final of the 100 metres backstroke.
Yeah, so we have the 100 metre backstroke this morning. It was a good battle between Maria Godden and Danielle Hill. So Danielle's taking the fastest position there in a 60.4, but definitely looked like she had a little bit more in the tank. But starting off with that B final, and Callie Walsh, fastest qualifier into this with a 109.67, so she'll be looking to beat that here.
Well, wherever you're watching, we welcome you to the National Aquatic Centre for this, the first event of this penultimate day of competition, the B final of the 100 backstroke. And it's Leah Jacobs in 0, Leah Connell in 1, Amy Russell in 2. This is moving from the bottom of the pool upwards in terms of their lane draw. Chloe Donway, lane 3, then Callie Walsh. It's Ellen Lee in 5, Kirsty Dunn in 6, Shauna Murphy in 7, Aoife Gardner in 8, and then Emily O'Dwyer in lane number 9. Nicholas Quinn, they turn at the top of the pool.
Yeah, Ellen Lee, the Sunday Wells swimmer there, turning first in a 32.97, so a strong start from her. But there's just a second and a half splitting these girls across all 10 lanes from the heat session, so it is quite tight. But with 25 metres to go, it is Ellen Lee, the Sunday Wells swimmer, who has the lead by maybe just under a body length. So let's see if she can hold on now as they're coming up to 15 metres to go.
Ellen Lee in lane number 5, the Sunday's Wells swimmer. Came in this morning in 110.02. Should go well under that now in this B final. The girl in the green cap there with lane number 5 led them pretty much all the way from the start. A good time. 68.78. Amy Russell in second place, and then Callie Walsh is in third. Dipped below her time this morning there, India, by about a second and a half.
Yeah, Ellen Lee, she had a great swim there. I think she knew that she needed to take it out a little bit fast this morning, which she did do. She went out 32.97, coming back in around a 35, so decent split time there for 100 metre backstroke. She's from Sundays Well. We know Sundays Well has a very good back roll programme down there. So yeah, she definitely knew what she was doing here, and she took the B final in a very, very strong time there, 108.78.
Amy Russell in lane number 2, getting up to finish in second place, and Callie Walsh in third. You were here this morning, guys. What did you make to the heats that we saw, Nick?
Yeah, I thought really, really strong heat sessions this morning. We had both these first two events, the women's and men's 100 back. We had 2 consideration times for the World Championships, which are going to be in Japan later this summer. We had Danielle Hill, obviously the Tokyo Olympian, in this event, going 60.4 to get a consideration time. So let's see if she can improve on that in a few races time. But then I was also really impressed with Conor Ferguson. It's the first time we've seen him this meet. He stayed away, he didn't do the 50 back, he didn't do the 200 back. He was coming here with one sole focus, the 100 back. He's just recently, at the start of this season, moved to Loughborough, got his head down, worked hard, and it's obviously paid off. He went 54.4 this morning, 0.1 off his season's best. So let's see if he can improve on that and get down to a 54 low or maybe even a 53 high. It was really, really strong this morning, and I'm excited to see what he can do this evening.
Isn't it funny, when actually the other couple of days we were talking about the fact that it was the case that maybe Conor Ferguson wasn't fulfilling his potential. Lo and behold, he's quicker than Shane Ryan this morning. No, Shane's not in the final, but obviously Shane's coming back through a lot of heavy training as well, so he's not quite right for this one. But it's good to see Ferguson back to a little bit of form.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been chatting to him a bit during the season, and he made the decision to move from Belfast back up to Loughborough, or to start in Loughborough. His focus is firmly set on Paris. He just wanted to get his head down, work hard. They've got a good programme over there. He's got some good training partners. He's been racing in season quite strongly. He was racing at Buxton not that long ago. He's swimming really strong in season performances. And then to come here and go 54.4 straight off the bat in your first race is good and bodes well for him in the summer.
Yeah, we'll never forget that swim that he did when he set that Irish junior record of 54.38. Conor Ferguson's, that was back in 2018. Remember, I had a whole pool screaming at him there, but to go just 1/10 of a second above that in the 54.48 definitely shows that Conor's on form again today.
Okay, we're on to the junior final now. From 17 years of age downwards. That's our junior final in lane 0. There's our middle lanes there, lanes 4 and 5. That's Maeve McLean and Leah Bailey in 5, but from 0 you can see right in front of your camera, right across the 9, using 10 lanes. Gives us an extra 2 swimmers in the final, which is good. The junior final then of the 100 metres backstroke, and it's Craylene O'Connor in 0, 14-year-old from Sunday's Well. Then it's Mia Mulholland in 1, Louisa Humphreys in 2, Katie Kelly 3, Maeve McLean alongside Bailey. Then Madison Emnett, busy programme for her this week from Guildford, one of the visiting swimmers. Cara Marr in 7, Antonia Seck of Sunday's Well alongside her teammate out in lane number 9, which is Izzy McGrath. Should be the battle between 4 and 5 here.
Yeah, no, it should be the back between 4 and 5, but it does look like lane 2 is staying up there as well. But we do have the first turn there with Maeve McLean, 32.37. We would be looking for a low 32 if she wants to break that 108.99 that she set in her heats in this morning. But she looks like she's coming in strong, coming in down this last 25 metres of her 100 metre back roll. Again, look at that still head position that she has. She's got a good turnover, good rotation through those shoulders, and she looks like she's kind of powering away here from the rest of the field. Yeah,
she's got about 3/4 of a body. That lead now is head down towards the finish. Leah Bailey, Irish record 102.53, won't get close to that. It's held by Danielle Hill. A good time nevertheless, 106, dropping all the time, 3 seconds thereabouts inside her qualification time this morning. Leah Bailey, that was a good win for her. Maeve McLean was quite close to her in terms of times this morning coming out of the heats. In fact, Maeve McLean was quicker from those heat times, but that's a good swim from Leah Bailey and a good time drop.
Yeah, really, really strong from Leah there. Really impressed with her second 50. Herself and Maeve McLean were neck and neck at the 50, but Leah's second 50 she completely powered away. She took 2 seconds out of Maeve. She was a 33.6 on that second 50 versus a 35.7. So that was a really, really strong, well split race from Leah Bailey. She was able to pick up her rate coming off the wall, maintain a really still head position, and was catching water the whole way through. So strong performance from the New Ross swimmer, getting the win in that junior final.
Well done to her. And it's a quick meet, this one, in terms of the Irish swimmers, isn't it, India? We've seen time and time again big chunks of time being taken off the swimmers' times from the heats going into the finals as well, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, not only our well-known swimmers, but we're also seeing, like Dave and I were chatting about this morning, about kind of some of our earlier heats, and a lot of swimmers are taking like decent chunks off their time. But let's not forget about all the Irish junior and Irish senior records that we're setting this weekend, and also all those kind of summer meet qualifications that we're setting as well. So I think we've done really well in this program so far. You know, we're on to day 4, and I think each team for every summer national or a summer qualification meet is starting to grow more and more each day.
Well, the hope is that we got, is it 7? We have 7, I think, yeah, now who've qualified for World Championship. Well, consideration times. They've got to be selected yet by the selectors, and they're hoping for women's relay, either freestyle or medley, to go to the Olympic Games next year. But that's further down the line. But good to see Conor Ferguson back. Danielle Hill, who's coming up, the Olympian. She's already there on the plane, you would think, along with the 2 pre-qualified swimmers already, which is Daniel Whiffen and Mona McSharry.
Absolutely, yes. We had Danielle swimming this morning, so Usually Dave and I talk about Danielle chill in the morning, because she usually relaxes kind of in her morning swims, but you could definitely see she was going for this 100 meter back crawl this morning. So again, going under that consideration time, which is a fantastic swim from Danielle, but we know what she performs like in the evening swim as well. So I think we're going to be looking for something just a little bit faster off Danielle now this evening as well.
Yeah, it's a strong performance from Danielle in the morning, especially for these senior experienced athletes like Danielle, like Conor Ferguson. They know that if they go to the World Championships, they have to be on it in the morning to get back for a second swim. So it's good practice for these athletes to put in a strong performance in the morning and then try and drop again in the evening. So really excited to see if Danielle, she could challenge this 60-point marker and go sub 60, which would be the first Irish person to do that, which would be amazing to see. But also watch out for Maria Godden in lane 3, the National Centre Limerick swimmer. She just missed out on the consideration time in the 200 back, but I know that the 100 has been a bit more of her focus this season, so it'll be interesting to see if she can get down around that 60-point mark in this race as well.
Looking forward to this one. Irish record stands at 1:00.18. She did a 1:00.40 this morning, which gave her that consideration time for the World Championships. There she is, centre of your shot. Alongside her in main number 5 is Lottie Cullen. So it's Molly Nulty in 0, Aoife Doran in 1, Cora Rooney in 2, Maria Godden in 3, then Hill, Cullen, McDougald, Niamh Pountney, Roisin Ní the Paralympian, is in this final. Brilliant stuff from her, the 18-year-old. And then Bethany Firth, also a Paralympian, Paralympic gold medalist for the UK. She's out in lane number 9, the 27-year-old from Ards. But this should all be about Danielle Hill. Can she go close to beating that 60-second mark for the women's 100? She's not that far off it. 2:20.11. Swam time is 60.18. So this is about her and against the clock.
Yeah, no, and already fantastic start there from Danielle Hill. You can always know from her underwaters and that first breakout, she's always going to take the dominant lead on this first 50, and she's staying strong. Good turn from her there, and we've already got a split time there of 29.85. I think it might actually be very close. She's going to be looking for that 60.18. She pretty much is nearly going to need to negative split this second 50, John.
Might be a little slow at the turn, Nick.
Yeah, she was 28.7 this morning, and on her Irish senior record she was 28.7, so unless she's taking this out slowly, but it looks like it is actually lane 3, Maria Godden, who's pulling ahead of her with 50 metres to go. Let's see what Maria Godden can do. Could she hold on with 7 metres?
Maria Godden looks like she's going to usurp Danielle Hill here, and she's done that. I think Hill might have been content this morning of having registered that time, maybe not coming as back as fast as she possibly could. But Maria Godden wins and takes a considerable scalp there. Maria Godden wins in 1:01.32 seconds. Danielle Hill has to be content with a silver medal in 1:01.5. And third home, Lottie Cullen from Sunday's Well.
Yeah, fantastic swim there from Maria Godden. Her second 50, we always know that she's got a really, really strong back half of all of her races there, and she kind of did come out of nowhere. I know her focus really was on Danielle Hill at the start there, because she was nearly half a body length ahead going into that turn, but as kind of soon as we saw that 29.85,
she looks surprised, doesn't she?
She does look surprised, yeah. She looks really pleased with that swim, to be honest. So I'm really happy for Maria. She's having a really, really good meet as well, and like I know, like we always know that Danielle tries to get her hand on that wall first, but I'm guessing that's going to be a really, really big confidence boost there for Maria to outtouch Danielle in the 100 back.
Yeah, Nick, what do you think to Danielle's swim? Maybe, I mean, she's been very busy this week, big program. She's done what was required this morning, making the consideration time. I know she's lost an open title as well, but I think her time this morning was more akin to what she was looking for.
Yeah, I knew I'd been speaking to Danielle and Peter, her coach, earlier on this week, and they were saying that this 100 back was the focus for them. And she went that time this morning, that consideration time. You come to an Irish Open Championships where there's international qualification on the line. You get the job done, you get under the consideration time. That's job A done. But I would have liked to have seen her go a little bit faster this evening. I'm sure she would have been looking to go a little bit faster. But like you said, she was 29.2 at the 50, just half a second off probably where she needed to be. And then Maria Godden was really, really powerful in that second 50. We know she's got that 200 back pedigree. And that's actually a consideration time for the under-23s. For the under-23s, which is going to be held here later on this summer from Maria Godden. So she's in really, really good form, and taking an Irish Open Championship, a surprise Irish Open Championship for her is really, really strong. But as you said, John, Danielle's been very, very busy this week. She's got a consideration time. She's numerous Irish Open Championships wins already under her belt. So it's not been a bad week, and she'll be looking forward to the summer now.
Here comes Dervla Brady now. We got a couple of time trials for our Paralympic swimmers. Dervla Brady, the 16-year-old from Limavady, swimming in the 100 backstroke. A decent crowd here as well, away to our right outside, just out of shot. And it's great to see the Paralympic swimmers in with the main body of Irish swimmers throughout this week.
Absolutely. Dervla Brady's had a fantastic programme as well. She's been quite busy herself. She's entered in quite a number of events here, so really nice that she gets kind of a main focus here. She gets to swim her 100 back roll, and like you said, we do have a more full stadium now, more full pool, especially after COVID, so hopefully we can get a good bit of atmosphere behind Dervla here as she takes this swim.
From Banagher, Limavady, the 16-year-old. Two lengths of the pool then for Dervla Brady, the 16-year-old from Limavady. Her entry time is 1:55.1. Obviously hoping to go better than that in this time trial herself.
The World Championships for the para athletes are actually going to be held in Manchester in August this summer. So they have, there's consideration times for the Irish athletes to qualify for the Worlds, for the Irish Worlds. For the Para Championships, they have a minimum qualification standard that you must reach, and then they need to be selected. So I'm sure Dervla Brady will be having her sights set on that minimum qualification standard in this 100 back. Very tough to do it when you're on your own in a time trial, but you just have to put the blinkers on, focus on your race, and execute as well as you can, and then see what the time is at the end of the race.
She was born 7 weeks premature, weighing just 3 pounds 10 ounces, blossomed into a very healthy young teenager. That's according to the Derry Now newspaper, giving us some of the background to Dervla. She brought home 9 gold medals and 1 silver from the national competition, the Dwarf Sports Association UK National Games in Birmingham. So that was quite a considerable haul. You want to back a truck up for those, actually. There's so many of them.
Absolutely, and just to mention with Dervla as well, she's just such a lovely person as well. She's very smiley, she's a very easy person to talk to kind of on the pool bank as well, and she's doing fantastic here coming into the last 25 of this 100 metre backstroke. So she just turned there on the 56.18. Again, her entry time is 1:55.10, so we're coming into the final 10 metres or so hopefully she can break that 1:55 barrier.
Well, her first and absolute love is swimming, she says. Unashamedly prefers that discipline to any others. Her ambition is to compete at the 2024 Paralympics in Paris, and she's inside her time, so well done to her. She just got her classification from track and field from the Paralympic Association, and now swimming in the Swim Ireland meet. Looks very happy with that time. 1:55 entry time, 1:54. That's tough going on your own, doing it on your own, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Personally, I loved the head-to-head nature of racing, and I found it really, really difficult to get the absolute most out of myself in a time trial type environment. I found it very tough when we had to do it during COVID, when there was no open competitions and we were all racing behind closed doors. So for Dervla to improve on her heat time this morning, she would have been in the heats this morning racing everybody else. So to do an improved time, to go from 1:55 to 1:54.8 is really impressive for her, and a strong performance. She'll be able to go back and look at the race with her coach, identify any other areas where she might improve on, and heading into the summer.
So we have another time trial coming up now, and it's the turn of Barry McClemens, the 22-year-old from Ards. His time is 1:08.27, and again, because it's a time trial, he's looking to better that. Won a bronze medal at the Commonwealth Games representing Northern Ireland last year, Barry, in Birmingham in the S9 category. That's one of a couple of categories he swims in, Class S9, Class SB8 and SM9. It's a very complicated system of structures they do, but it's from 1 to 14, isn't it? 1 to 14, depends on your level of disability. So 1 being the likes of, say, Bethany Firth, whatever, who compete here with maybe an intellectual disability, down to 14. So I said we brought the Paralympic Championships and the Olympic Games to you on RTE 2 years ago, and we did 140 of the 160 races. So Barry was very much involved in that, and having taken a silver medal in the Commonwealth Games, he'll obviously be looking again ahead to the Para Games in Paris in 2024.
Yeah, Barry's, as you said, John, he's a seasoned international competitor. I think he was the actual first First medalist for Northern Ireland at swimming at the Commonwealth Games last summer, so he had a really, really strong performance. I know we've already seen him race earlier on in this meet, the 100 fly. He's already achieved the minimum qualification standard for those World Para Championships in Manchester, and he's really just using this. We saw the last day, he still has a beard, he's unrested, he's unshaved. He's using this as a real training meet to focus on his processes, focus on his tactics, hone them in, and make sure that once he gets to Manchester for that World Para Championships, he knows exactly what he needs to do. He doesn't need to think about it and just needs to execute and race against all the rest of the guys in his category.
Barry just keeping people waiting at the moment for his entry.
Yeah, like you said, Nick, I think we were chatting about it earlier in the week as well. So we've got the likes of Ellen Keenan and Nicole Turner. They're still in quite heavy volume training at the moment. So they are probably going to use this event as just kind of a training event. And Barry's going to come out again. Like you said, it's difficult enough to come out on your own, but probably a little bit less pressure because he's not, he's not tapered or anything for this event. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on in this 100-meter backstroke. Looks like he's just slowly taking himself out onto the bank now. Very chilled athlete there. So hopefully we can see some fast swim from him here.
Yeah, he's a very relaxed athlete. I've trained with him a few times, and he's a really, really hard worker. So he'll be looking at this 100 back now and seeing if he can improve on that 108.27 he did this morning. Yeah.
I'd say with that 108.27, he's probably looking to be going out at maybe a 32 mid, 33 low if he wants to be breaking that barrier. So let's see how he can perform and take out that first 50.
His right leg was amputated just above the knee when he was 10 months old, and I mentioned those classes he competes in, so he's got that nicely decorated foot which he takes off before he goes swimming. So he's just got that one leg to rely on, more for balance you would think, because a lot of the work he'll be doing will be with the arms due to missing that knee, amputated, as I say, above the knee when he was 10 months old, but that hasn't held him back. Representing Northern Ireland, his club's Ards, coached by David Johnson, para swimmer, bronze medalist at the Commonwealth Games last year in the 100 metres backstroke. This is his main event.
It's really impressive watching Barry. Look at how strong his underwaters are. Considering that he has one leg, it's amputated, he still has really, really strong underwaters. That's something that he works really, really hard on. Now he's up into his tempo. He's got a high rate, high tempo. Look at that head position as he's coming down this first length. Let's see if he can get close to that 108 or some 107 in this 100 back time trial.
Yeah, you can even see the strength of Barry as well, even just pulling himself up out of the water. You saw that high position that he had, lovely straight back, and then that kind of arch as he dove into that underwater work. And again, really strong underwater kick, like you said there, Barry. He's just turning at 31.7, so that's a very strong start there for Barry McClellan. So like I said, I think I said 32 high if he wants to break that 108. So let's see what he can produce on this second 50 here.
Well, it's very appreciative, very knowledgeable swim crowd here as well. They were applauding his turn. It was a very good turn as well, spotted it very nicely. You can see his head pretty much rock solid, looking up at a point of the ceiling where he can actually just keep himself in that straight line. Moving a little bit over to the lane rope. Let's see his time. It's going to be a 106.47. That's about a 1.8 second better than his entry time. Nick, I think he'd be well pleased with that.
Yeah, definitely. Going almost 2 seconds faster than when he went this morning is a really, really impressive performance. Though, as you said, John, the crowd got behind him there, got behind the last 50 metres. They knew at that turn that 31.7, India, you had mentioned that 32 point would be kind of a good split, but he was under that. He was 31.7, coming back to go 66.4. It puts him in a really, really strong position heading into the summer. He'll have a busy schedule. I know he swims before in the freestyle. We've already seen him in the 100 fly. So he multi-events at a lot of these championships, so he'll have a busy schedule, but that 100 back is definitely one of his main events that he'll be looking to hopefully potentially medal come Manchester in the summer.
Yeah, we think he'd be a cast iron certainty for at least a final, if not a medal. Paris is on everybody's mind now these days, India, really, because we're now at a stage where we're going to try and get 7 national teams out between now and over the summer as well. Moving into the Olympic cycle, of course, we're well into the Olympic cycle at this stage. And when you get to the World Championships, if we got those 7 competing and maybe a relay, it'd be interesting to see how they go, because that's the first opportunity they will have then to post a time for Paris.
Absolutely, and David and I were just chatting about that earlier. So usually these athletes will have that 4-year cycle, but because of a COVID situation, we actually only have a 3-year cycle, and we have to fit in 2 World Championships within that time as well. So we've got the World Championships in Japan, and then we've also got that World Championships in Doha and Qatar as well. So a lot of these swimmers, they might just focus on the one World Championships because it would be quite difficult to try and taper and try and, you know, focus their training on all these different international events. But yeah, these swimmers have, you know, they've had a lot to think about between the last Olympic cycle and this Olympic cycle. Having lost that 1 year, it's actually a significant drop for a lot of these athletes. So they've had to plan their training schedules quite well.
Yeah, you've got to make the time first, though. I mean, that's the most difficult thing. I mean, Melanie Knocker is a classic example of that, where she tried and eventually got it here in the Irish Championships, and disappointed, I'm afraid, when she got to London. But it's tough thing to drop that time to get to the qualification standard, and then after that, maybe drop times when you get to the Olympic Games as well. But there's so little time to prep between getting the time and then getting to the Olympics itself.
Yeah, like definitely.
And you should know, Nick. And you should know.
It's that thing of, if you're chasing a time, it's very difficult, because if you're chasing a time, you're constantly coming down in volume in training. You're constantly either half rested or fully rested, looking to make that qualification standard. Whereas if the guys go to World Championships this summer, make the time, they know they have a year of consistent block. They'll have a little bit of a rest come April again, just to make sure that they're getting recovered and able to race strong. But the focus is on a year out, and you're getting ready for the games, as opposed to focusing on qualifying. So anyone who can qualify a year out sets himself in a really, really strong position to swim well at the games. And as you said, India, like, it's been such a busy schedule. We had Worlds last year, we have Worlds obviously this summer, then there's another Worlds in Japan, there's another Worlds in January in Doha. It's really busy schedule. Qualifying this summer just allows athletes to decide, right, this is where I'm going to go to focus on my schedule and get myself to the games in Paris in the best possible condition to put a strong performance in.
Well, it's the B final then, as we move on to another event, 100 backstroke, and it's in lane 0. Julian van Bensberg, 0 is nearest to the camera. He's from Trojan. Then Alexander Newman, you can see them there in the maroon hat in lane number 1 from Bangor. Then Ray O'Shea from ASB, moving away from 0 to 9 across the pool. Banbridge's Liam Og Mathers. Then we got Aidan Cook in 4. Senan Harvey is in 5 from Mallow Swans. Christian Nyland from the NAC, the local club here. Finlay Wright of Banbridge. Townier's Michael Keogh. And from Temple Oak, it's Robert Mullen. 2 lengths to the pool for this, the B final of the men's 100 metres backstroke.
Yeah, so we're going to be looking for a strong start from all of these boys here. There's only 2 seconds separating the entire 10 swimmers, so it's really about who can kind of get it out into that clear water on that first 50, have a good turn, and see if they can maintain it down this second 50 as well. Looks like we have a strong start out there in lane number 7, I think. So the white hat, the lane number 8 actually. I think it is. No, it is lane number 7, the red hat.
You're right, yeah, because we don't have a swimmer in 9. That's what
we don't have a swimmer in 9. So it's Finlay Wright of Banbridge. Looks like he's going to take the first turn, and he does in a 29.76. So again, his entry time is a 104.39. Looks like if he can come back strong here, he had a good underwater there, he'll be breaking that 104.
His modus operandi, obviously, Nick, is to take it out hard and see if he can hang on, but he's been swallowed up and out a little bit by the middle lanes.
Yeah, lane 3, Liam Og Mathers from Banbridge coming through really strongly. But it also looked like the Loughborough swimmer in lane 4, Aidan Cook. This is going to be a really tight finish across lanes 3, across to 7. So let's see who gets a hand on the wall first.
Liam Og Mathers in a blanket finish. Has he hung on? No, he has not, because Christian Nyland had a very good back half of that race. The last 50, powered down the last 50, 103.92 and a 33 flat. And that's what got him the victory. He looks very happy and not surprised. Look at that, 103.19, 103.20, 103.21. Now that's what you call a blanket finish.
Absolutely, like, I couldn't call it coming down that last length, last 15 metres. There was 4 or 5 guys right in the mix there, but really strong swim from
This is the finish. This is remarkable. Just 2 100ths of a second between the top 3.
It's like we mentioned yesterday, John. Nailing those finishes and making sure you spot them perfectly can be the difference between winning the race or coming 5th. So those guys Christian Nyland did a really good job there. He was charging home hard, 33.0 on the last second 50, the fastest second 50 split of the whole field, and able to spot that finish to get the win in that B final of the 100 back.
Yeah, and look how happy he looks as well. It's a really, really strong swim from him. So he's looking very proud after that B final. But it is, like, even if you go back over the streaming, it's so interesting to see how different people take that 100 back crawl. So you can even see the difference in strokes as well. I think in between lane 4 and lane 5, we had a really high stroke rate there from lane number 4. But we also had Cook actually have a much slower, much more controlled stroke rate as well. So interesting to see how each of these swimmers can take that race. But he's looking very, very happy there.
Yeah, it may only be a B final, but it's a win's a win.
Absolutely.
You can only beat what's put in front of you, and you put them behind them by 1/100th of a second. I don't think I've ever seen that before, the front three being that close together.
Close.
It's not even a blink of an eye. It's remarkable. Remarkable swim. Well done to him, and he obviously looked up at the coach, stuck his tongue out and said, yeah, my time.
Yeah, and it's also, he's a NSC swimmer, so he's used to this pool, so he'll have some support in the crowd, and that's almost a second faster than he went this morning, 104.1 to 103.19, so really, really strong performance there for Christian Nyland to take the win, and as you said, India looked very happy with that, so I'm sure he'll be going home to his this evening a happy man.
Yeah, and hopefully next time it'll be a step up to the A final. That's coming shortly, but this is the juniors, and it's again 10 competing. Daniel Edgar of Lisburn goes in 1. These are from 18-year-old downwards. Cormac Donnellan in 1. Edgar is in 0, as I mentioned. Glen Albin, represented by Donnellan, in 1. Christopher Mason is in lane number 2. Then Ewan McLeod. Cool Minds, Dara Morgan is the fastest into this final. Not by much, 2/100ths of a second. Philip Duda alongside him from Longford, the 18-year-old. Bluefin, 16 years of age. Mark Cormacan. Then it's Luke Woolley from Clare Morris. Triton's own Wren, and Ben Merrigan across the pool from 0 to 9. The 17-year-old from Dolphin makes up our 10 swimmers in this final. It's going to be close, this, between Morgan and Duda, you would think, but like the last race, it's a difficult one to call, this one.
Absolutely, and again, it's only pretty much just less than 2 seconds of separating the entire field, which we had in the B final as well. But like you said, it's only 2/100ths of a second separating lane 4 and lane 5. So again, that's less than a fingernail that's separating those two swimmers. So if I do remember, actually, majority of these swimmers from heat number 2 actually made PBs off their heat swims from this morning. So it'll be interesting to see if they can improve again in this evening's swim.
Yeah, it's interesting when you get to junior finals. There's such a learning curve from racing from heats to finals that you can see people coming from the outside lanes that can step up, decide to take the race out a bit harder, and then all of a sudden they find themselves in the mix at the end. So obviously Dara and Philip are the two fastest qualifiers, the only two to be sub 62 in the heats this morning, but it'll be interesting to see if anyone in the outside lanes can make a drop and challenge them for the junior title here.
We have the A final coming up. We were hoping for a showdown between Shane Ryan in his main event to Conor Ferguson. That's not going to happen, I'm afraid, because Shane's withdrawn for the final, having qualified second this morning. So Ferguson will have to do it on his own, but it's good to see him back. The 24-year-old now at Loughborough University. His own club is Larne, but that's coming up very shortly indeed. Let's see how he can do. 54.48 this morning. That was his qualifying time. Can he go quicker in the final? But for the moment, we're going to concentrate on this junior final with Edgar, Donnellan, Mason, McLeod, Morgan, Duda, Cormac and Woolley, Rinn and Merrigan. And a woo for the crowd as they get away for this 2-length final. It's the junior final of the men's 100 backstroke. Very good start in lane 3 from Ewan McLeod, 18-year-old from ESB. And also down below us in lane 0, Daniel Edgar, Lisburn City, second slowest of the finalists, but whoa, what a start from McLeod again. Catch me if you can, he turns to the 50, leads.
Yeah, really strong start from Ewan. So Ewan actually trains out in the UK, but he does come over and he competes for ESB when he comes to Dublin. So we know that he's been getting stronger and stronger coming back for each of these competitions in the NAC. But that was a really strong start from him, so much faster than he swam this morning, 28.0, and it looks like he's dominating the field here as he comes in for the last 12.5.
They're not going to catch him, Nick.
No, they're not, and it's definitely going to be Ewan McLeod, the ESB swimmer, looking really strong from start to finish in this race. Let's see what time he touches in here. 60.23, what a swim from Ewan McLeod there. That's a massive, massive improvement from this morning's swim. He went 62.4 this morning, 60.2, just off breaking that sub 60 barrier. as I mentioned, with these junior swimmers, there's such a learning curve from heats to finals that you can see big drops from anywhere. So really, really good swim there from the ESB swimmer. And also shout out to Daniel Edgar from lane 1. Or lane 0, coming from the right up from the outside. It just goes to show you for these juniors, when you're in a final, you have a chance. Improve on your tactics from the morning, you can really take some places and get in the medal. So strong performance for Daniel Edgar to get a bronze from lane 0.
Yeah, he was in lane 3, and as you mentioned, outside lane 0 also surprised those in the middle. But yeah, considerable drop, 60.23. That's over 2 seconds quicker than his heat time this morning.
Yeah, he's looking happy there, and again, I've trained Ewan for a little bit as well, so he's definitely focused actually a lot more on his strength training in the past 12 months. So he's gained a lot of strength when it comes to his back roll events. So kind of previous, I'd say up till last year, he was having a few disappointing swims, but yeah, definitely focused a lot more on his strength training, and you can see it in him now. Like, he's definitely a lot bigger shoulders on him now for that back roll event, and it's definitely transferred over into the pool.
Yeah, well, it would have transferred nicely into the final, the A final actually, had he done that this morning. But look, he takes an open title and drops a couple of seconds off his PB, so that's next time. Still making his way up. He's only 18 years of age. So the A final now is coming up. It's a pity we don't have Shane Ryan.
Yeah, it is. We were down on pool deck there just before the start of the session when I heard that Shane wasn't swimming, and it is disappointing. It would have been really good to see Shane go head to head with Conor. They've been racing against each other now for a number of years, so it would have been good to see the two of them go head to head again. But Conor was great this morning, that 54.4, getting under the consideration time. But I'm also really excited about John Short, the 16-year-old. He made the consideration time for the 200 back roll for World Championships. As a 16-year-old is really impressive. He went 55.5 in the 100 this morning. I think he's got a chance to get under sub 55, go 54 high maybe in this race. I don't think he might have enough to challenge Conor, and maybe not to challenge Conor's junior record, but I still think it could see a really strong performance from the Bluefin swimmer. He's splitting his training time between Bluefin, based in Galway, and then also working with the National Centre in Limerick with John Sharanek as well. So he's a really exciting prospect, and I am excited to see what he can do, but I'm also really excited to see what Conor can do, see if he can get down to that 54 low mark.
So there's your lineup then for this A final. It's Nettie Irwin in 0 again, reading from the bottom up, the closest to the camera, to lane 9. Charlie Cassidy of Dolphin, the 18-year-olds alongside him. Matthew Walsh Hussey, the NAC, the local club, is in lane number 2. Then Adam Barnes from Ards. Then Conor Ferguson and John Short, the 16-year alongside him. Part of the new breed, John Short, obviously he's just 16, is alongside Ferguson. Then Brandon Bliss, the 18-year-old from Belfast, also a good prospect. 58.14 is his entry time. You would think the way things are going that should be Short and Ferguson contesting gold and silver. Emmett Cousins of New Ross in 7. Bryden Byrne in 8 from Bangor. And then Artem Kobot of Titans out in lane number 9. Ferguson, good to see him back to something approaching his best.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to see what Conor can produce now in this A final. He was definitely looking on form. He dominated his heat by quite a significant amount. So I think it is nice that he's got the likes of John Short beside him. I don't think John's going to take Conor in this A final, but it's nice to have that little bit of competition beside Conor as well, because we haven't really had that much competition in the back roll apart from Conor and Shane from year to year. So the fact that Shane's not in this final, it'd be nice for Conor to have someone close enough to his time there to make him really work for it now in the A final.
And it's kind of ironic. Conor really made his breakthrough as a 16-year-old when he just missed out in qualifying for the Rio Olympics, and now you've got John Short, another 16-year-old in lane 5, who's probably going to be the closest person to him in this race. As you said, India, I think Conor is probably in a class of his own for this field, but I'd be looking for John to have a really strong performance and maybe swim a 54 point, which would be fantastic for him. But excited to watch this. Ferguson
looks lean and keen. Leaner than I've seen him for a while, and I think under that cap as well he may have shorn his locks. I'm not quite sure, because he's quite well shaven around the back of his neck. He's got some lovely locks, but they seem to have gone, and we don't have a swimmer in 1. So Charlie Cassidy is scratched from lane 1, the Dolphin swimmer, so we're down to 9. Away they go. This is the final of the 100 metres backstroke for men, with Irwin in 0. 1 is absent. Walsh, Hussey, Barnes, Ferguson, Short, Bliss, Cousins, Byrne, Cabot. 54.48 seconds this morning for Conor Ferguson, and he's gone off really, really strongly, and he's dragging Short along with him. They're going to turn at the top of the pool now, and Conor Ferguson of Larne, now of Loughborough University, 26.09. That's quick.
Yeah, definitely. He's 26.3 this morning, so 26.0. It's on for Conor Ferguson here. He's got a high tempo, lovely head position. Let's drive it down this last 25, Ferg, and let's see what he can do.
Here comes Ferguson, and here comes Short. Short's not letting him go, but it's about a 3/4 of a body length lead he has now. Ferguson really rock solid, head to the ceiling. 5 meters to go. What's his time? 54.01. It's a new senior record, is it? No, it's outside. It's outside. 53.73 is the best time for Shane Ryan. I thought he got and usurped it, but he hasn't. He's about 0.25 of a second, but that's announced him. He's back, he looks happy, and he splashes the water in delight. Maybe a bit of frustration, but not getting the Irish record. But maybe if he had Ryan alongside him at his peak, the two of them could have dragged each other along. But a good mention as well for John Short with that 55.23, and in third, Matthew Hussey, Walsh Hussey in 57.5.
Yeah, no, that was an absolutely fantastic swim there from Conor to go out in a 26.09 and come back on the 54.01. I think he actually is really happy with his race. Maybe slightly frustrated that he didn't dip below that 54 seconds, but you can't ask for much more there from Conor. That was an absolutely fantastic swim.
Yeah, really, I'm delighted for Conor there. What a strong swim from start to finish, 26.0. I've seen him go out at 25.8 before when he was trying to chase that Olympic qualification for Tokyo, but it was just too much effort. Through that first 50 there, he's 26.0 and he looked completely in control. He came off that wall, had really strong underwaters. He picked that rate up slightly just off that second 50 and was able to hold it the whole way. That's a big improvement for Conor to go from 54.3 to 54.0. He's going to have a big summer ahead, and let's hope he can go sub that 54 points.
I'm delighted to see him back. David gives him the congratulations. There's Andrew Bree as well. Congratulations, Ferguson. I've got a photograph of here myself, and I've shown them of myself and Andrew Bree. When was that? European Short Course Championships in Riesa in Germany, December 02. A little present for him. I'll give it to him later on. But yeah, great to see him back. I was getting excited about the fact that I thought he broke in the Irish record, but he's not far off it now, and it's good to see that Conor Ferguson is back with us.
Yeah, no, he's not far off it now, and it was fantastic to see the whole of the NAC pretty much on their feet cheering Conor on to bring him in, bring him home on that final kind of 10 metres of his 100 metre back roll. So, you know, we've spoken about it before, where a lot of these athletes feel like they have a lot of pressure on themselves to perform, but also they have all that support from the NAC as well. So it was really nice to hear all that support from everyone.
Okay, I'm going to leave you to it for the 800. This is the women's 800. There's your lineup, and I'll be back shortly with some of the other finals, other commitments to fulfill, and I'll leave you with the 800 free for women, where Grace Hodgins looking for yet another long distance title, and considering her entry time, it should be way ahead of the rest. But anyway, this is coming up now very shortly.
Thank you, John. Yes, we have the women's 800 metre freestyle coming up, and yes, our fastest entry time is Grace Hodgins. She's the only swimmer going in with an 8:48.00. So we've already seen her earlier in the week, Nick, in the 1500 metres. She was just outside that qualifying time. She was looking for that 16:50 in her 1500 metres. So be interested to see what she can produce here in the 800 metres. I'm unsure now what the qualification time is that she's looking for on that 800.
I'm just looking at the 800, so there's two different times for the 800 freestyle qualification times depending on your age. So I think Grace falls in the 8:46 category. So her entry time of 8:48, she's right thereabouts. If she can improve on that, she gives herself a good chance of getting that European Under-23 consideration standard, which would be great for the Trojan swimmer. I think we probably are going to have a repeat here of the 400 and the 1500 titles, in the sense of Grace Hodgins taking the win, Rebecca Friel, the Trojan swimmer, getting silver, and then Ella Carroll from Limerick getting bronze. But maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit early on that, but we've seen that in the 4 and the 15, so it wouldn't be surprising to see a similar freestyle.
Yeah, and we know that Grace is, we know that her pace is actually doing very well. So even though she didn't meet that qualification standard of 16:50 in the 1500, she did still PB from her entry time as well. So we know that she is swimming that little bit faster. So I think, again, like Dave and I were talking about it earlier, you can either make or break a swimmer, I guess, in a competition like this, where if you have more of a disappointing swim, it can either push you on for your next swim, or it can make you like switch off a little bit. So hopefully Grace is the former, and it's going to push her on a little bit more in this 800 meter front crawl.
Yeah, she's been in good form already this season. She's PB'd at Bangor at the Dave McCullum meet. She was PB in the 400 freestyle there, and she was right on her PB in the 1500 freestyle. So when she went that 8:48, her splits were consistently 33 points with a few 32 sprinkled in there. So as this race progresses, we can look and see how she's on track for that 33 lows, 32 highs, and get her in around that 8:46 consideration time for the European Championships.
So we're just going to quickly run down through the list of names here. So again, from lane 0, that's the closest to your screen and moving away. So we've got Skye Austin Burrows. She is in lane 0. We've got Madison Emmond in lane number 1. We've got Holly McInerney, the Temple Oak swimmer, in lane 2. We've got Ella Carroll of Limerick in lane 3. Again, Grace Hodgins, fastest qualifier, the 18-year-old from Trojan, in 8:48. She takes lane 4. Rebecca Friel is in lane 5. Grace Cochran in 6. Ruth Kelly in 7, Hazel Bentley in 8, and Jessica Robson in lane number 9. So the first 200 metres is where they're really going to set this pace here, aren't they, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. The first 200 is just about getting into your rhythm, finding it. You can see that lane 5 there, Rebecca Friel, is probably a half a body length ahead as they approach this 100-metre turn. But we saw something very similar in both the 400 freestyle and the 1500 freestyle fastest heats, where Rebecca Friel took it out steady, or took it out fast, and then Grace Hodgins, over the next couple of 100 metres, reeled her in, settled into her rhythm, and then I expect this to be Grace Hodgins' race pretty much from about 200 metres onwards. But she's been in fine form, Grace, all this year. 3 of her 4 top times in the 800 freestyle have come from Luxembourg, where she was racing earlier on this year, and then also from Dave McCullum in Bangor. So she's coming into this meet in really good form and looking to translate that into a PB and potentially a consideration time for some of the international competitions this summer.
Absolutely, and so with that entry time of 8:48 as well, she's going to be looking to probably split around 105 per 100, so again around 32s maybe for each of those splits. So she's around the 33.37 mark now, so she's going to have to probably bring that down to the 32 mark if she's going to want to break that time as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like looking at her splits when she went that 8:48, she was right in that 33 low, 32 high kind of mark consistently throughout the 800. So let's see how she gets in. Let's see how she does at this 200-metre mark. At this stage of the race, you'd hope that she has settled in, she's found her rhythm, she's found her counts, she's got her breathing pattern. You can see she's breathing to her left, she's breathing every 2, and she's turning at that 200-metre mark in 2:11.59. That split there for that 50 was a 33.3, so very consistent with the ones beforehand. So let's see if she can hold that and then maybe get a little bit quicker towards the latter stages of this race.
Absolutely, and she's got her teammate there, Rebecca Friel, beside her. So both of them are Trojan swimmers. So interesting that you have, kind of one of your main competitors, but also one of your teammates as well swimming beside you. So that can definitely drag you along. We know that Grace is that faster swimmer, but it's nice for Rebecca to have someone to swim off against. So she's probably going to use her for a little bit of pacing as well if she wants to push herself just kind of slightly outside of her comfort zone and kind of see how long she can hold on to Grace as well.
Yeah, absolutely. These girls will know each other very well. They're both Trojan swimmers, training with Jonathan Peterson there in Trojan, really strong club, so they'll know each other well, and it's really great for Rebecca, who's 17, to have the likes of Grace training alongside of her day in, day out. What an example for her. Grace has been the distance queen of Irish swimming over the last year, 2 years, so she's starting to lay down her mark on this race at the 300-metre mark. She's turning in 3:18.04, 33.2, so she's literally like a metronome on these 50s. Really strong opening 300 for Grace Hodgins. We do have a battle going on for that 3rd place here between Ella Carroll from NCL Limerick, but also our guest swimmer Madison Emmond in lane 1. So it'll be really interesting to see how that battle for the bronze medal plays out. Obviously Madison, she's a guest swimmer from Guildford, so she can't actually get a bronze medal, but she can get a commemorative medal in this race. But at this stage, it is really Grace Hodgins out in front, and I'd expect her to hold on, and it's really her racing the clock to see if she can get that consideration standard, India.
Yeah, she's really starting to pull away now from her teammate Rebecca Friel. She's doing strong, again, sticking, like you said, like a metronome with those split times. So she's sticking around the 33 low to 33 mid. So she's definitely going to have to try and maintain this pace. She's got a really good technique here. So she really shoots forward with that right arm, breathing with a very low, sneaky breath. And she's kind of just using her kick, I guess, for balance at the moment. So we're just turning at that 400 meter mark. So it's definitely the latter end that we'll start to see Grace really start to pull out a little bit as well. So she is good on building those 100s as well. So she'll be building until she hears that kind of last 100 bell, and that's when she'll start to hammer down.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm just looking at the top 4 girls there. Every single one of them are breathing every 2. So that means they're all breathing to the same side every time. A lot of the distance swimmers will get into that rhythm of breathing every 2, making sure they're getting that oxygen. When you were racing India, I know you were maybe not doing the 800 that often. You were more a 50 fly, 50 free specialist. But when you were training, would you have bilateral breathe? And by that, I mean breathe to both sides, or were you predominantly breathing to your left or your right?
So yeah, I guess it was different styles of training, to be honest. So again, Dave and I were chatting about this in commentary earlier. So we were always kind of forced, well not forced, but we were always trying to taught to try and bilateral breathe, because it's a good skill to have, to be able to breathe to both sides, particularly when you're doing these kind of endurance events. If you do have someone that's like right on your side, and you want to be able to look at them on both 50s, especially in that kind of long course season. So when it comes to, I guess, the sprint events, you'd be focusing more on kind of those lung buster sets and like trying not to breathe at all. So like just trying to train your lungs to have as much oxygen capacity as possible. But yeah, I'd say majority of these swimmers here, they probably do a lot of their training as bilateral swimmers, so they can breathe to both sides just to keep an eye on their competition. But when it comes to their actual racing, they'll definitely just be breathing to the more dominant side to maintain that pace throughout as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right. I think it's a really important skill to have, to be able to breathe to both sides and then go to what's most comfortable for racing. And it's clear looking at Grace Hodgins there, she's still splitting 33 2s, 33 3s, which is really good. She's got a lovely technique. She's got a little bit of a lopey stroke with that breathing. She's breathing to the left every time. And she just holds that right arm out really on top of the water in a nice streamlined position before she catches, to allow her to get that breath in. She's swimming really, really strong here, but she's not pulled away from Rebecca Friel over the last couple of 100 metres as much as I thought she might have. I mean, it's still clear that Grace is going to win this race, but it really is her against the clock now.
Absolutely, yeah, no, Grace is looking really strong. So like you said, she does have that really nice long glide. So I think the only reason she's slightly starting to pull away from Rebecca is doing well, but she's kind of sinking just a little bit lower into the water, so it might just be a little bit more difficult for her to maintain that pace. Grace is still very much high in the water as she comes into this final 200 metres. And again, sticking around the same pace again, so 33.55. It would be nice to see her really hammer down kind of from this last 150. Again, Dave and I spoke about it earlier, where the 1500 you're probably really going to start to burn out, and it's the last maybe 75 to 50 that you'll see them start to hammer down. But 800, even though it is that endurance event, it's nice to see them kind of really start to pick up that pace in the last 150 as well.
Yeah, and it's that change of pace. You're using different energy systems. You're going for in an 800 freestyle or a 1500 freestyle, you're predominantly working on your aerobic energy system. You're working in that comfort zone just below that kind of threshold level, not letting your lactic peak too quickly. But then all of a sudden, when you put the hammer down and you go for it for the last 100, you're shifting into your anaerobic energy system, using that lactate as energy, because that's what lactic acid is. It's actually a form of energy. It's just the byproduct of it that just hurts a lot.
Absolutely, and we spoke about that as well, where a lot of these endurance athletes will have more kind of those slow twitch fibers, so that's why they can maintain this pace for a much longer period of time. But when it comes to the 800 now, we've seen a lot of training kind of focus more into that kind of fast twitch fiber, so they can really hammer down on that last 75, so they do have that little spurt of energy as well. So we are starting to definitely see that stroke rate start to pick up from Grace here. She's pulling away. It's about 25 metres ahead of her teammate there, Rebecca Friel. Rebecca Friel also really starting to add that leg kick in. That's where her engine is coming from. She's got a strong leg kick here for the last 75. But again, we're starting to hear pretty much those bells for a majority of the crowd, but that is as Grace turns onto her final 50. So let's see how that split is going. Still 33 mid. Let's see what she's got for the final 50, Nick.
Yeah, it looks like Grace is going to be probably just above that 850 mark, so slightly slower than her entry time, unless she can drop a really, really fast 50 here, fast last 50 here. But I think she's going to take the win in probably an 850. You can see she's going to her legs a little bit more at this stage, but it's probably not going to be fast enough to get under that 850 and get the consideration time for the European Championships. But there's no doubt she's going to be the winner of this Irish Open 800 freestyle. Let's see what time it is.
850.98, you called it there, Nick. So strong swim. It's always difficult for Grace to have to swim on her own as well and not have that competition as she finishes that 800. But here comes her teammate Rebecca Friel. Again, strong swim there. So let's see what time Rebecca finished on. She's entered in a 9:09.12 and she finishes in a 9:09.36. So just above that entry time for Rebecca as well.
Yeah, and the battle for the bronze place has gone to our guest swimmer, Madison Emmett from Guildford City, the 16-year-old. She'll pick up a commemorative medal, and then Ella Carroll from NCL in Limerick is going fourth in the race, but will get that bronze medal in a time of 9:25.58, which is her entry time of 9:14. So she might not be that happy with that race, but an 800 freestyle is a tough event. If you're not happy with how it's going, it's a long way to not be happy. So it's a tough event, and I take my hat off to all of these girls swimming in 800 freestyle. I don't envy them. And I'm sure they'll be sore now. They'll be getting into the swim down pool trying to recover if they've got a race tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I don't envy them at all, Nick. And he called the podium positions there quite well. But like you said, it's difficult also for kind of this, I guess, heat declared winner style of training too. So I know it'll be a lot more difficult to have to swim an 800 in the morning and then swim it again. But I guess sometimes when you have that extra race, it is kind of like dusting off the cobwebs and knowing what kind of position you're in or what way your pacing is going. And a lot of these swimmers would have used pace work in their warm-ups to see how they're getting on. But sometimes it is nice for them to actually get a race in as well before they swim that 800. But again, really strong swim from the girls there, having to go in kind of heat declared winner, and especially from Grace dominating that field from the start and holding onto that position throughout the entire 800. So good swims from the entire field.
Yeah, I always agree. I always think it's challenging for the distance swimmers when they go to a major international competition, because like you said, you go to a domestic competition like this is an Irish Nationals and it's a heat declared winner for the 8 and the 1500 freestyle, then all of a sudden you go to any kind of your major internationals and you will have heats and finals. They are on separate days, so you'll have the heats on one day and then you have the finals the following evening to give people enough time to recover, because I mean, asking people to do two 1500s back to back is probably a bit too much. Absolutely. But it's still a big change. It's a change of, for the likes of Daniel Whiffen, when he goes to the major internationals, he has to swim an 800 heat and an 800 final, or a 1500 heat and then a 1500 final if he makes it. Whereas you go to these national competitions and you only have one chance, one opportunity to do it. So it's a shift in mindset there, which I always think must be challenging for the distance swimmers. I can't say I've ever experienced it, but I've always thought about it.
Absolutely, and again, I don't envy them, but that was the end of the 800 free. So we're just going to take a quick break as we go through the presentations of the women's and the men's 100 metre backstroke.
Olympic Federation of Ireland and CEO of Swim Ireland. Okay, so our first presentation will be to our junior ladies 100 metre backstroke. I will be looking for Maeve McLean, Leah Bailey and Aoife Doran, please. So I can see our swimmers assembling. Okay, so our junior girls are going to make their way over to the podium. Maeve McLean, Leah Bailey and Aoife Doran. Our first set of medals will be presented by Mr. Thomas Byrne TD, Minister of State for Sport and Physical Education. Okay, so our first medal this evening is the bronze junior medal to Maeve McLean from City of Derry Swim Club. Congratulations, Maeve. Silver medal to Leah Bailey of New Ross. Congratulations, Leah. And junior gold medal this evening in 100 metre backstroke is Aoife Doran of Aer Lingus. Thank you very much to the Minister. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you, ladies. Well done. Our next medal presentation will be to our senior ladies. So I'm looking for Lottie Cullen, Danielle Hill and Maria Godden. Thank you, ladies. Again, our Minister for Sport and Physical Education, Mr. Thomas Byrne TD, will present these medals. Third place goes to Lottie Cullen of Swim Belfast. Congratulations, Lottie. Silver medal tonight is for Danielle Hill of Larne Swim Club. Congratulations, Danielle. And 2023 Irish champion in 100 metre backstroke ladies is Maria Godden, National Centre Limerick, Kilkenny. Thank you very much to the Minister. So our next presentation will be for men's backstroke. I'll be looking for our junior medalists, please. Could I have Adam Barnes, Brandon Biss and John Short? Last call, Adam Barnes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and present our junior medals. Sarah Keane is going to present these junior medals this evening. Our bronze medalist not here, so a silver medal to Brandon Biss of Swim Belfast. Congratulations, Brandon. And a junior gold medal this evening goes to John Short of National Centre Limerick and Bluefin. Thank you very much, Sarah. Congratulations, gentlemen. I'm looking for our senior medalists. I can see Conor Ferguson, I can see John Short and Matthew Walsh-Hussey. Thank you, gentlemen. So these are our senior medalists. Minister Thomas Byrne is going to present the bronze medal to Matthew Walsh-Hussey of NAC Swim Club. Congratulations, Matthew. Silver medal in the senior category goes to John Short of National Centre Limerick Bluefin. And tonight's, this year's champion, 2023, Irish national champion, is Conor Ferguson of Larne. Congratulations, Conor. Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you very much to the Minister and to Sarah Keane. That completes this evening's medal presentations until later. That's it. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you to the presentation party and congratulations to our medalists in the men's and women's 100 metres backstroke. We had some really, really strong performances there. Obviously, Conor Ferguson, 54.0. It was great to see him get back to, well, not get back to his best, improve on his best. He's never been that fast in his life, so that's a PB. So close to that 54-second barrier and a consideration time for Worlds for this summer. So really, really excited for him. And then it moves us nicely into the next event, India, which is the men's 200 freestyle. We'll have 3 finals as normal. We've got the B final up first, then we'll have a junior final, and then we've got the A final, which should see a good race between the 2 youngsters. We've got Evan Bailey in lane 4, will be New Ross swimmer, 152.0. We've seen him swimming really, really well all this meet so far. And then Jack Casson, who's broken Irish senior records in the 400 IM, been sub 2 minutes and hit gold in the 200 fly, and broke the Irish junior record in the 100 fly. So 2 swimmers who are clearly on form. Should be a good race in that 200 free A final
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the A final here for the men's 200 metre freestyle. So, just saying earlier, Jack Hassan's a real multi-talent at the moment. So he's got that 400 IM, he got that 100 fly again, a 10-year-old record set by Brendan Hyland, and for him to break it as well was absolutely fantastic. And again, he's just got a, he's coming in, hasn't put too much pressure on himself. He's still a youngster, so he's kind of up and coming, and he's just getting out and he's racing and he's enjoying it. So I am really excited to see what he can produce here on the 200 metre freestyle in that A final as well. But just going through the B final first, so just running down quickly through the list of names so that we can focus on the swimming. So we've got Power in 0, we've got Morgan in 1, Fahy in 2, we've got McAvinney in 3, we've got Allison in 4. He's our fastest qualifier in a 1:58.75, so only person to go 1:58 for this B final. Then Upton in lane 5, Bugler in 6, we've got Cook in 7, Harvey in 8, and McCann in lane number 9. So what are we looking for this first 100 split there, Nick, if majority of these swimmers want to be breaking that 2-minute barrier?
I think if you're looking to break the 2-minute barrier, you're probably looking at a 57 point to come back. 62 point, with the out of the splits up, you're in around that 2-minute barrier. Or even if you're taking it out hard, you could be 56. It's very difficult to go sub 2 minutes if you're going out in a 58. So I think most of these swimmers will be looking to go out in a 57 point, or maybe if anyone wants to be aggressive and take the race out hard, we might see a 56 point.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave and I were chatting about it earlier. It's definitely transitioned more from kind of that mid-distance to kind of more of a sprint event now. So it'll be interesting to see how a lot of these swimmers take that first 100 and see if they're going to try and take it out fast and maintain. But let's get ready for the start of this B final of the men's 200 metre freestyle.
And they're off. There's a nice little boost from the crowd there. Looks like it's a good start in lane 5 from Max Upton, the swimmer from Loughborough. We've got two swimmers from Loughborough in this race. We've got Max Upton in 5, we've got Aidan Cook in 7, so those two swimmers will train together. But it is Max Upton in lane 5 who is taking this race out strong. He's going to turn in 50, but about a body length or half a body length lead. A 26.3, that's taking it out pretty strong, so it'll be interesting to see if he can hold on here now as we go through this second 50.
Yeah, so only about less than a second behind is Jamie Allison of Lisburn. So it's going to be interesting, like you said, Nick, to see how each of these swimmers take the second half of this 100, but it definitely does look like the Loughborough swimmer in lane number 5 is going to take this first 100 metres. Let's see if he has just taken it out a little bit too fast and can he maintain that second 100, but it's going to be a good split here from the Loughborough swimmer, Max Upton. So he trains in a 55.38, so that's a very strong start there.
Yeah, really strong. I thought 56 would be a strong first 100, but Max Upton is really taking this out hard. You can see Jamie Allison, the Lisburn swimmer, was really efficient through that first 100. He was nice and long and controlled, but he's really picked up the rate in this third 50, and he's eaten up the distance between himself and Max Upton. I think Max could be in a bit of trouble now as we come through to this last 50. What do you think, India?
Yeah, he's definitely got an advantage there. The Lisburn swimmer, he was breathing to his side, so we could see that swimmer in lane number 5. So he's going to have a slight disadvantage on this second 50 as he turns away from the Loughborough swimmer. So looks like Max Upton has actually got the advantage here. He can see Jamie on his left-hand side as he swims down this last 25 metres. Definitely starting to pick up the pace here, but I think we're going to see fast times from both of these swimmers. Again, qualifying time for Jamie Allison, the fast qualifier, is 1:58, but it looks like Max Upton, qualifying time 1:59.91. Looks like he's going to be smashing that time here.
And it is Max Upton, 1:56.79, taking the win, with Jamie Allison second in 1:57.39. Just those two guys to go sub 2 minutes, and they both had big drops from this morning. In third place it was Aidan Cook in 2 minutes, 0.08, the other Loughborough swimmer, but it really was Max Upton who took that race out hard, taking a 2-second drop from this morning's swim. And then Jamie Allison second in 1:57. I thought that Jamie might catch Max on that second 50, but Max had a really strong third turn that allowed him to pull slightly further ahead of Jamie Allison. And although Jamie was catching him in the last 50 metres, Max had just done enough to take the win there in this first final of the men's 200 freestyle.
Yeah, I think Jamie really had an advantage there in that third 50, Nick, so we could see Max Upton on his side, so he definitely did gain a little bit of ground. Maybe he pushed it a little bit too hard too soon on that third 50, because he definitely could see him tying up a little bit towards the end, but Max Upton knew exactly what he was doing there, took it out strong and held it right until the end. So really strong swim, 1:56.79, and that nearly would have put him into that A final, so I'm sure that gave him a little bit of a confidence boost as well, but we've got a bit of camaraderie there pulling him out of the pool as well.
I think that shows that Max probably went a little bit too hard. He's struggling to get out of the pool, and his Loughborough teammate there, Aidan Cook, had to help him out of the pool, and that definitely looks painful. He looks like he's in a world of pain, so I'm sure he'll be in the swim down pool for quite a while after this, trying to flush out that lactic acid. But you have to go for it, and he went for it from the start to finish and did enough to hold on, take a big chunk off his entry time, going from 1:58 to 1:56. So strong swimming for the Loughborough swimmer there, Max Upton.
Absolutely, and like we said, 200 front crawls definitely turned a little bit more into a sprint event, so the lactic acid build-up in your legs is absolutely incredible now in a 200 metre freestyle. You just kind of have to go from it from the start, so I'm sure these boys are going to hop into the swim down pool and probably just bob about a bit before they actually start swimming again. But we're moving on to the junior final now, so we've got another full heat here. Our fastest qualifier is Cormac Rinn. He's 18 years old, he's a Trident swimmer, and he has an entry time here of 1:56.53. So we just saw 1:56 being produced in the previous heat as he went out on that 55. So we'll see how Cormac Rinn takes this race. Let's see what he's going to start that first 100 on, see if he can maintain it throughout. But he's got a couple of swimmers alongside him there. There's only 0.3 from Conor Fitzgerald, 1:56.83. He will be taking lane number 5. But quickly running down through the rest of the names here. We've got McCarthy in 0 from New Ross. We've got Riddle of Ards in 1. Cassidy of Dolphin in 2. We've got O'Loughlin Brophy in lane number 3. Cormac Rinn again, fastest qualifier in 4. Fitzgerald in 5. Donnellan in 6. Switzer in 7. Smith in 8. And Moran in lane number 9.
Yeah, I get really interested watching these junior finals, because I really do think you can get people coming from outside lanes. There's such a learning curve with these junior swimmers going from heats to swims. I know when I was a junior, I had a lot of time to take big chunks off, and it wouldn't be because I wasn't trying in the morning. It's because I'd basically still be learning how to swim the race.
Absolutely.
So tactically changing a few tweaks can make a huge difference for these junior swimmers. So let's see what they can do now in this junior final of the men's tuna freestyle.
All right, and they're off. So again, we're going to look from a strong start for majority of these swimmers. So it pretty much looks like it's going to be a blanket right down to that first 50, and then we'll see who is going to be taking the lead. But it is a strong start from lane number 2. That's Charlie Cassidy of Dolphin. We've also got lane number 4. We knew that Cormac Rinn was going to be taking a strong start as well. So let's see what those first 50 splits are, and we'll see what kind of times we're going to produce in this junior final.
And it is Cormac Rinn from Trident touching in first at the 50 metre mark in a 26.51, just ahead of Charlie Cassidy in 26.6 and Noah Switzer, the 16-year-old, in 26.4. So the 16-year-old in lane 7 is going out hard with the 2 boys in the middle lanes, but it is lane 4, Cormac Rinn. He looks really long, India. Look at that stroke out in front. He's holding that out. He's like...
It's like he's really treating the water well or something. Like he's not splashing down in the water. He's placing his hand nicely. So yeah, he's got a lovely stroke there, and he's turning here on a 55.82. So similar enough time to that previous heat where we saw 1:56.79. So let's see what he can produce here in the second 100.
Yeah, and all those top 4 or 5 boys are all swimming 29 points in that 50. So this is really close, but it still looks like Cormac Rinn in lane 4 from Trident just has the lead ahead of Conor Fitzgerald, the National Centre Limerick swimmer. But maybe now as we're approaching this third 50, it is Conor Fitzgerald who's going to turn first with 50 to go.
Absolutely, and we did just talk about that advantage, so definitely Conor Fitzgerald has that advantage of looking at lane number 4 as he swims down, but it looks like he's going to be turning away. He's still maintaining that lead, but let's see if Cormac Rinn can gain a little bit of ground as he turns to that competitor in lane number 5.
That was a really, really strong third 50 from Conor Fitzgerald. He split at 28.9, touched first at a 150, but Cormac Rinn is really pushing back here. It looks like Cormac Rinn is going to take the win. What a race, get your head down, Cormac. 1:55.39 for Cormac Rinn from Trident. What an interesting race. Conor Fitzgerald really, really attacked that third 50. He went 28.9 in that third 50, but he went too fast too early because he was at 30.9 in the second 50, allowing Cormac Rinn to come back and snatch the win. Really impressed there with Cormac in the last 5 metres. He went head down, straight arm freestyle to get his hand on the wall first, and just did that in a 1:55.39 ahead of Conor Fitzgerald in second, 1:56.11, and then in third place we had the Dolphin swimmer Charlie Cassidy in 1:57.5. But a really strong last 50 there from Cormac Rinn, India.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you kind of nailed it on the head there. I think Conor Fitzgerald definitely knew that he had a little bit of he had a lot to gain there on Cormac Rinn kind of in lane number 4, so he definitely took it out hard in that third 50, and like you said, from that split of a 28.9, that is absolutely fantastic on the third 50 of a 200, so I think maybe he just pushed himself that little bit hard, but we can't take away from that final 50 of Cormac Rinn. That was a really, really strong, especially that last 10 metres. He knew he had to put his head down and just get to that wall first, so fantastic swim from them both. They're both producing faster times there than their heat swim. We are moving on to the A final. This is where we will have Evan Bailey taking the fastest lane number 4, his entry time of 1:52.07, but also our double record holder, or Irish junior and senior record holder from this weekend, Jack Casson, is taking lane number 5, and again he is also producing a 1:52.42. So the only 2 swimmers to go 1:52. Dave was chatting about it earlier. He'd like to see some swimmers going below that 1:50 mark. I don't know how close they're going to be to that 1:50 mark today, but if they were to produce that 1:50, what kind of times are we looking out for on that first 100, Nick?
Yeah, 1:50 is that big barrier that these swimmers have to, or the 200 freestylers have in their heads. But if you're looking to get under 1:50, you want to be out in that 52 point, 53. You can probably get out in that and get under 1:50. Depends how you swim it. So you've talked about the 200 freestylers turning into much more of a sprint. You'll see some of these guys go out really, really strong. I remember watching Jordan Sloan go out in a 51 point in a 200 freestyle before, and maybe he did pay for it a little bit on the second 50, or in the second 100, sorry, but it is turning into that sprint. Like, you look at the world-class men 200 freestylers, they're swimming 1:42, 1:43, 1:44. It's not a huge amount of time. You compare that to a women's 100 breaststroke, there's only 30 seconds difference, so it's like, it is a bit of a sprint event, and you've got that mentality of saving your legs a little bit, but you can't go out too slow in the 200 freestyle or you just get left behind.
Absolutely, and from these 2 swimmers as well, we know that Evan Bailey really does have a strong second half to a lot of his swims, so we probably will look from a fast start from him, but if he is a little bit further behind, we know that he can gain a lot of ground when it comes to that second 100. But we've also got the likes of Jack Casson. He's shown his fitness levels at this competition, so in that 400 metre IM, again, such a grueling event, but he took that record from Killian Melly, and we know that his fitness levels are definitely up there, so 200 metre freestyle should actually not be a piece of cake to him, but if you can do the 400 IM and break those kind of records, I am looking for a good time from him as well. So like you said, interesting to see how each of these swimmers is going to take that race. But let's quickly run down through the names before we get started. So we've got O'Brien in 0, Fleming in 1, we've got Liam Custer in 2, Morgan in 3, again Evan Bailey, fastest qualifier in lane 4, Jack Casson beside him there in lane number 5, Finn McGeever also one to look out for in lane number 6, we've got Thomas Leggett in 7, we've got Colgan in 8, and Robbie Powell taking lane number 9.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's this 200 freestyle, it's a bit of a changing of the guard. For so long we've seen the likes of Jordan Sloan, Jack McMillan, Robbie, Finn, they're still in this, but let's see if Robbie and Finn can challenge the 2 younger guys in Evan and Jack. But this could be kind of a year of a changing of the guard for the 200 freestyle. Obviously we had so much success last year in Tokyo with the men's 4x2 making that qualification and racing out in Tokyo, but there does seem like there's a real changing in the guard in this 200 freestyle event, and it'll be interesting to see what these youngsters, Jack Casson and Evan Bailey, you've also got Liam Custer, who's a Irish junior record holder as well in this race, so let's see if Finn in lane 6 can stick with these younger boys and produce a time in and around that 150 mark.
Absolutely, and like you said, we've had some fantastic swimmers in the past in Irish swimming at that 200 metre freestyle, so the likes of Jordan Sloan who's just recently retired, but let's focus on these swimmers in the pool. So again, lane number 4 is taking it out, that is Evan Bailey. I love his stroke actually, Nick, so he has a real sneaky front crawl, or sneaky breath in his front crawl. It barely looks like he's breathing when he turns his head to the side, but he's also got that slight loping stroke as well, so it'll be interesting to see how he takes out the first 50, but it actually is lane number 6 that's taking that first 50, so that's Finn McGeever of the National Centre Limerick. He's out in a 25.35.
Yeah, Finn is probably the most experienced international swimmer of this field, having competed in Tokyo, and he's really shown his experience there, taking this race out hard. He's got about a body length ahead of swimmers either side of him, Thomas Leggett and Jack Casson. But look for Jack Casson to have a really strong last 100. We've seen him in the 200 fly come back strong, but it is Finn McGeever at 100, that 52.7. That's what we said. Let's see if we can get in around that 150 mark. Let's go, Finn.
Yeah, no, that was a fantastic start from Finn McGeever. He's a good 2.5 seconds ahead of the field now. So that second competitor in behind him is Jack Casson there of lane number 5, but it looks like Finn McGeever has taken this out strong and he's holding on to that lead. We also have a good swim there for lane number 1, that's Jack Fleming. He's sticking within the mix, but let's have a look at this split time here for Finn McGeever. He's looking really, really strong, and he splits now in a 28.59. I think we're looking for a fast time here, Nick.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. He's getting a little bit short down that end of the last third 50, but he had a good turn there, and he seems to be holding off Jack Casson. But Jack Casson has picked up his rate massively here and is eating up the ground with 15 metres to go. He's probably not going to catch Finn, but he's really going to charge hard and make this close at the finish.
He's looking really strong though coming into this last 5 metres. It might just be Finn taking that gold, and it is 150.46 for Finn McGeever, 150.77 for Jack Casson, and Evan Bailey taking the bronze in a 152.65. But fantastic swims there from Finn and Jack, going 150, the two swimmers.
Yeah, that was some last 50 from Jack Casson. We had said beforehand that he's a really strong back half of the race swimmer, and he proved that. He was a 28.2 there in that last 50, which was over a second faster than Finn McGeever, and that was all the last 15 metres. He was just, I'd say if that race was 3 metres longer, he probably would have taken Finn, but Finn just did enough. We were looking at the splits. What would you need to go 150 or sub 150? Finn was 152.7, whereas Jack would have been about a 54, but came back really, really strong there. So good to see Finn getting in around that 150 mark, tied up a little bit, or a fair bit on that last 50, but an aggressive performance from him, and good to see him get the win in a 150.4 with Jack Casson just behind him. 150 point, that's strong for the National Centre Limerick. They're both National Centre Limerick swimmers, so they will be used to training with each other. I'm sure Finn will have known that Jack would have been hunting him in the last 50, so getting that head down and getting the touch will give him bragging rights heading into the summer.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great to see a gutsy swim there from Finn as well, to take it out that hard, and he knew that he was about a second and a half ahead of the field, so to turn on the 52 mark, he's looking quite tired there climbing out of the pool. But like you said, he did have his teammate Jack Casson, and definitely if they had probably maybe under 3 metres in that race, I think Jack might have just taken the touch, but Jack's produced a really fast time there as well, again coming from the 400 IM, coming from the fly as well. To produce such a 150 and a 200 free is fantastic, but let's not take it away from Finn. Really happy to see him getting back down to that 150 mark.
Yeah, absolutely. 200 freestyle's a tough race as it is, and you make it even tougher when you have a gutsy swim like that. Take it out strong and just head down, try and hold on as best you can in the last 50. But fair play to Finn there. It's a strong performance to take the win. And we talked there before the race where there was a change in the guard. Finn McGeever stood up and said not quite yet, taking the win there, but a strong performance from the junior swimmers. Jack Casson there to get the silver in a 150 point as well. Absolutely,
it's nice to see that these 200 freestylers are coming through, because like we said, we had very strong 200 freestyler teams, and we've had just a couple of retirements from those male swimmers in that 200 freestyle, so it's nice to see that we have more swimmers kind of producing good times in the 200 free. But we've got a change of event now where we're moving on to the women's 200 metre butterfly. So we actually only had 2 heats in the heat swims this morning, so majority of these swimmers are coming back for a second swim. I'd say a lot of them took it a little bit easy this morning, so I'm hoping that we see a good reduction on some of the times here. So it looks like we've got a bit of an empty heat on this first heat. Some swimmers didn't want to swim the 200 fly more than once in a day, which I can definitely understand. 200 fly used to be one of my races as a youth swimmer, so I understand it is a grueling event to have to swim back to back. But let's see what do you think we're in for here, Nick?
Yeah, I'm just thinking it's quite interesting that there's only 2 heats this morning, because it was the exact same in the Olympics in Tokyo. There was only 14 swimmers entered, so all 14 swimmers at the Olympic Games in Tokyo knew they were getting a second swim, and it completely changes your mindset, because you don't go to Olympic Games thinking that, well, I'm automatically getting a second swim here. So it changes your mindset, and it'd be interesting to see if those girls, the girls in the B final here or in the junior final, had that mindset, or whether they were going for it this morning to try and post a time. But as we said, even when you're trying to post a time, there's still a learning curve. I think 200 fly is one of those events where there's always a learning curve, so hopefully they can improve significantly on their times from this morning.
Absolutely. So just quickly run down through the list of names here. So starting in lane number 2, we've got Hannah Cody. In lane 3, Aoife Lyons. In lane 4, we've got Emily Edgar. In lane number 5, we've got Katie Kelly. In lane 6, Sophie Jess. We've got Sinead McQuillan in lane number 7, and we've got Sarah Sully in lane number 8. So like you were talking about there, Nick, it's probably not the most attractive of races in regards to fatigue, but it is actually quite an attractive race in regards to your hopes for qualifying for standards if there's so few people actually entering the event.
It's actually such a massive opportunity for athletes to choose there's such a drive among swimming internationally now that everybody wants to do the glamorous events, everyone wants to do the sprint events, everyone wants to do the hundreds of the events. Getting in and doing a 200 fly, there's nothing pretty about it. There's nothing pretty about doing a 200 fly in training, but there are opportunities to be had there if you have someone who's willing to put the work in, who's willing to work hard day in, day out, and really focus on tactically and technically nailing down that 200 fly technique so that they can put in a strong performance. There's opportunities to be had on the international scene, both males and females in this event.
Absolutely, and just returning to the pool now, so we've got lane number 3 taking the lead here. She is turning in a 1:13.58, so a lot of these swimmers are going to try and find that breathing pattern, try and find that rhythm on that first 100, so it is about kind of taking it out at a controlled speed and being able to turn and have that energy coming back in this second 100. So there's nothing worse than getting to that last 25 in a 200 fly and feeling like your arms feel like lead on that last 25. So it does look like maybe lane number 3 took it out a little bit too hard. She seems to be winding up just a little bit as lane number 4 takes the lead. So that's Emily Edgar, the Lisburn swimmer. So let's see what times these girls can produce. Again, a 1:13 split. Our fastest entry time is a 2:38.58. So they're going to need to be coming back kind of just above that 1:20 mark, Nick.
Yeah, Emily Edgar had a really strong third 50 there, 40.0 versus Aoife Lyons' 41 and Katie Kelly's 41.6. I think you're right. I think Aoife Lyons in lane 3 went out very hard, and you can see she's even struggling now to get her arms above the water, but there's no doubt that Emily Edgar, the Lisburn swimmer, has paced this race really well. She was breathing every 2 throughout the race, and now she's going 2 up, 1 down, I think. But she's having a really, really strong performance. She's got a high tempo, high rate, not using her legs that much. It's very much a shoulder driven stroke, but she's really pulled away in this last 100, and she's going to take the win in a time of 2:32.26, which is a big improvement on her time from this morning. It is 3 seconds quicker than she went this morning. You can't ask for much more than that, India.
No, absolutely not. And again, a 200 fly to have to swim it in the morning and swim it in the evening. She definitely knew exactly what she was doing there. She allowed lane number 3, so she allowed Aoife Lyons to kind of take it out that little bit stronger. She kind of just hung on her shoulder, and then as she turned on that third 50, like you said, her split was that good bit faster than the rest of the field, so she knew exactly how to pace that race really, really well. So strong swim there from lane number 4. So that's Emily Edgar of Lisburn City, 2:32.26. So she'll definitely be looking to improve on those paces as she goes through the season now. So moving on to our A final, we've got our fastest qualifier is Alana Burns-Atkin. We know that she had a really strong short course season back in December, so she took the 200 fly win in that short course season, so we know she's a strong 200 flyer. She definitely took it very controlled in the heat swim this morning, so kind of took out the first 100 very controlled, good speed, and then you could definitely see it wasn't her tying up, it was definitely her just kind of easing off on that second 100. She knew she was coming back for that second swim, so I'm interested to see what the 17-year-old does here. Entry time of a 2:20.46. Definitely think she can go a little bit lower than that.
Yeah, no, these girls will be looking to improve on their time. Alana Burns-Atkins, is definitely the fastest qualifier. She's 6 seconds faster than Hannah O'Shea, the Dolphin swimmer, and the same with Sharon Shemsey in 2:26 as well. We've seen Sharon in the 100 freestyle and the 100 fly winning the B final, so she's now made it to the A final of this women's 200 fly, and I'll be interested to see if she can get herself on the podium. But it really is probably Alana Burns-Atkins racing against the clock here in this 200 fly, unless we see a major surprise, India.
Absolutely, and watching Sharon Shemsey actually and taking lane number 3, the 22-year-old from Sunday as well, she just took it out a little bit too hard in her heat swim, and then she did tie up on that kind of last 25, so her entry time is a 2:26.27. I definitely think she can improve on that time. I think Alana definitely has the gold in this, but I'd like to see Sharon going that little bit faster as well. So I'm sure she went back to her coach, she spoke about her splits, and she definitely knows how to pace this final just that little bit better, so hopefully she can come back stronger. So quickly running through the names, we've got McCabery in 0, we've got Quigley in 1, we've got Malloy in lane 2, we've got Shemsey in lane 3, Burns-Atkins in lane 4, O'Shea in 5, we've got Kelly in 6, Mulhall in 7, we've got Poynton in 8, and Bailey in lane number 9. So wishing these girls the best of luck in their 200 metre A final.
Yeah, the pacing of this 200 fly is so important. I have done my fair share of 200 flies. I know, India, you will have definitely done them when you were younger as well, and it's probably the one event, maybe this and 400 IM, that when it goes wrong, it couldn't go badly wrong. If you go out too hard, you really get that piano on your back the last 15-20 metres, and there's nothing you can do to struggle through it at that stage. So hopefully these girls will pace the race well and not feel, they'll always feel pain at the end of a 200 fly, but hopefully not that much pain.
Absolutely, Nick. And like I was saying to Dave Thompson earlier, there's the worst feeling swimming a 200 fly, but it's the best feeling finishing a 200 fly. So hopefully these girls feel the same at the end of their A final. So strong start from the Sunday's well swimmer. Again, Sharon Semshi, she started off very strong in her first 100 metres of her heat swim as well. So hopefully she is pacing this well coming into the final, because we know that she tied up a little bit on that last 25. So Burns Atkins definitely is more of a chaser, I think, in this event. She definitely holds off just a little bit, kind of swims on the shoulders of her competitors, so definitely looking for a stronger half on this second 100 of the 200 fly. But any young swimmers watching this 200 fly, it's really interesting to note the different breathing patterns that all of these swimmers have. So for myself, it was a 1 and 2 pattern throughout the entire 200. So again, each swimmer is individual, but it's about setting up that rhythm and really getting that undulation from behind as well as in the neck.
Yeah, absolutely. They all have different techniques here, and it's interesting to watch. As you said, Sharon took it out hard this morning, but Alana Burns Atkins has really come through in that second 50 right there. They were the only two swimmers that were 30 points, and Alana looks really comfortable. Lifted her head a little bit high in the turn there. That's maybe something she can look at. But at 36.54, actually the same split for both Sharon Semshi and Alana Burns Atkins on that 50. So good splits from both those girls, but my money's on Alana Burns Atkins. She looks in more control at this stage of the race. Sharon looks like she's struggling a little bit compared to her tempo earlier on in the race.
Absolutely, they are neck and neck at the moment, so it's really going to be down to this last 50. But we also know that Alana, from her short course season, she's got a very good strong underwater on that last turn, so hopefully she can hit this wall perfectly as she comes into the final 50. So it's just about timing it right. A little bit of a glide there from Burns Atkins, 36.05, and yeah, Sharon going a little bit slower there in a 37.62. So it does look like it's Alana's race here, as long as she can hold on and she doesn't tie up in these last 30 metres.
Yeah, it's a strong race here from Alana Burns Atkins, but neither Sharon or Hannah O'Shea, the dolphin swimmer in lane 5, are letting her get away with it. I think it's fairly clear that Alana Burns Atkins is going to take the win, but the two girls either side of her are putting up a strong fight. Alana Burns Atkins with 10 metres to go. Let's see her get her head down and what time she can go, see if she can get under that. She might be just over that 220 marker. 220.17, so a slight improvement on her 220.46 from this morning, but she would have been looking to maybe go sub 220. But a strong swim from Sharon Semshi, the Sunday Wells swimmer, to drop 4 seconds from her heat time, and then Hannah O'Shea taking the bronze medal in a 224. That's also 2 seconds faster than her heat time. So strong swimming from the three girls, but Alana Burns Atkins paced that race quite well. She was controlled through the first 50, built through the second 50, and then was definitely the class of the field over that last 100.
Yeah, absolutely. Alana, really, really strong swim there. It's nice to see the 200 fly actually come. It's an up and coming race here, especially with Alana taking that gold medal, 220.17. But I'm happy for Sharon as well there to be able to drop 4 seconds. So she definitely came back and paced that race just a little bit better. Nice to be able to swim beside Alana as well and just gain that experience too. And then again, good job to Hannah O'Shea of Dolphin taking again more time off her swim as well in a 224.75. So we do have long-standing Irish junior record from Gráinne Murphy back in 2009 of a 213.66, and then the Irish senior record still being held by Michelle Smith from 1996. But we're going to pass you over to the presentations now of the women's 800 metre free and the men's 200 metre freestyle. So we'll see you back in a few moments.
So medalists, we do need your presence at the far end of the pool. So our medals will be presented by Mr. Paul McDermott, the Director of National Governing Bodies Sport Ireland, and Mr. Peter Conway, our current chair of Swim Ireland. So thank you very much, gentlemen. We should be going with the junior medalists for the women's 800 freestyle first. So I need Jessica Robson of Lisbon City, Holly McInerney of Temple Oak, and Rebecca Friel of Trojan. . ' Okay, so our first presentation is for the women's 800 freestyle junior. We have Jessica Robson of Lisbon City, Holly McInerney of Temple Oak, and Rebecca Friel of Trojan. Medals will be presented by Mr. Paul McDermott, the Director of National Governing Body Sport Ireland. Thank you. That's a bronze medal to Jessica Robson of Lisbon City. Congratulations, Jessica. Junior silver goes to Holly McInerney of Temple Oak. And junior gold medal goes to Rebecca Friel of Trojan Swimming Club. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you very much, Mr. McDermott. So we're now looking for our senior medalists, please, ladies. Could I have Grace Hodgins, Rebecca Friel, Madison Emmett, and Ella Carroll? Our senior medals will be presented by Mr. Peter Conway, Chair of Swim Ireland. Thank you very much. So here we go. So a bronze medal will be presented to Ella Carroll of National Centre Limerick and Limerick. And we have a commemorative medal to our visiting swimmer from Guildford City Swimming Club. This is Madison Emmett of Guildford City, obviously. Thank you, Mr. Conway. Silver medal goes to Rebecca Friel of Trojan. And Irish National Champion 2023 Women's 800 metre freestyle is Grace Hodgins of Trojan Swimming Club. Congratulations, Grace. Congratulations, ladies. There's actually a trophy for this. So Grace is the proud owner. This is Grace's second year in a row in winning this trophy for National Champion of 800 metre freestyle. Congratulations, Grace. Thank you very much, Peter. So our next presentation will be the junior medalists in the 200 metre freestyle men. Could I have Dennis, National Centre Limerick, Adam Coburn City, and Evan Bailey, New Ross. I can see Evan making his way down. We do understand you swimmers do have to swim down, but if you can head down to the medal presentations to allow our following swimmers to continue their racing. So we're going to bring over our junior medalists now for men's 200 freestyle. Dennis O'Brien, Adam Colgan, and Evan Bailey. Medals will be presented by Chair of Swim Ireland, Mr. Peter Conway. Thank you very much, Peter. So a bronze junior medal goes to Dennis O'Brien of National Centre Limerick and Limerick. Well done, Dennis. Silver medal to Adam Colgan of Lisbon City. And a junior gold medal to Evan Bailey of New Ross. Thank you very much to Peter Conway for presenting these medals. We're now going to go with our senior medalists, please. So could I have Evan, Jack, and Finn? So Mr. Paul McDermott is going to present our senior medals for men's 200 freestyle. Bronze medal this evening goes to Evan Bailey of New Ross. Silver medal to Jack Cassin of National Centre Limerick and Dolphin. And Irish National Champion 2023 is Finn McGeevan, National Centre Limerick. Limerick. Thank you very much, Mr. McDermott. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you to the presentation party, and congratulations to all of our medal winners there for the women's 800 meter freestyle and the men's 200 freestyle. And there's no letting up with the races here in India. We're straight into the men's 200 breaststroke. I mean, I might be biased, but I am very much looking forward to this race between the three guys who are very familiar in the A final, Dara Green, Oisin Cook and Owen Corby. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do in the A final later, but before that we have the B final and the junior final. Running through the list of the B final, we have Callum Slaughter from Bangor in 0, Joshua Hunt from Limavady in 1, Daniel Mulholland in 2 from Lisburn, his teammate Dylan Registe from Lisburn in 3, Adam Wilson Banbridge in 4, Paul Cox from Lisburn in 5, Rory Fitzpatrick in 7 from Lisburn. We have 4 Lisburn swimmers in this race, which is interesting to see, good training partners for each other. And then we've got Jake Logan in 7, Ryan McDowell in 8, and Killian Langton from Sligo in 9.
Yeah, you said it there, Nick. I think we've got 2 very interesting races to finish off day 4 of our Irish Open Championship. So we've got the men's 200 metre breaststroke followed by the women's 200 metre IM. But like you said, in that A final we have Andrew Feenan, Dara Green, Oisin Cook and Owen Corby coming up. But let's focus on this B final to start. Fastest qualifier Adam Wilson of Banbridge in a 2:32.28. And they're off. So this is one of your specialties, Nick. What are we looking for here in the B final?
Yeah, we talked about the tactics and the race pacing and when the women's 200 fly just before the presentations, and it's really similar in this 200 breaststroke. It's all about getting your tactics right. In lane 4 you've got Adam Wilson from Banbridge, who looks really strong in this first 50. I would be a little bit worried that his rate is a bit high, and can he sustain that over a full 200 breaststroke. But down this first 50 he looks really strong, and he's going to touch in a 32.43, which is pretty fast for the first 50 in this B final. He's entered on a 2:32 from this morning's swim, so strong first 50 from him. Let's see if he can hold on to it.
Yeah, and I spoke about it earlier. The 200 breaststroke is all about kind of grasping that water and making sure you're not just spinning through the water. So we do want to see kind of, I guess, maybe more of a controlled stroke rate on that first 100 and then picking up the stroke rate on the second 200, but still maintaining that grasp. But he does look like he's holding that water well, lane number 4. So he's staying strong. That stroke rate is still quite high, but we'll see what his 100 split is here. And he turns on a 1:10.54. So looks like we might, if he doesn't start spinning here on the second 100, we might look like we'll be breaking that 2:32 barrier.
Yeah, if he can hold on to that 38 splits that he did on that second 50, he's going to be in a really strong position. He could be in a 2:26, 2:27 territory if he does that. So let's hope that Adam Wilson can hold on. You mentioned India about holding water at the front of your stroke. It's so important, keeping that head low right until the end of that catch phase, and then using it to lift and drive forward and drive from the hips. So I'd like to see Adam hold on to a little bit of water, more water at the top of his stroke, but he is holding on to that rate well, despite it being a really high tempo. At 39.8, so a little bit of a drop off from his second 50 there, but I think he's got a commanding lead in this B final that no one's going to catch him, so it's him racing the clock now to see if he can get under that 2:30 barrier.
Absolutely, I think he's done really well technically in this race as well. He seems to be able to change up his stroke in regards to hitting the wall dead on, so he definitely is a good 2 body lengths ahead of his main competitor here, which is in lane number 3. That's Deaton Regist of Lisburn City. So coming into the final, 12.5, again starting to maybe lose a little bit of the grasp on that water, but again his entry time of a 2:32.28 looks like he's going to be beating that time just slightly, and it is a 2:31.23. So great final swim there for lane number 4.
Yeah, strong swim there from Adam Wilson, going 2:31.2, a second faster than his entry or his heat time from this morning. But really impressed that he held on to that rate. He started too high. I was a bit, or not too high, he started quite high, and I was a bit worried whether he'd be able to hold on to it or not. I really did like his hand speed. He had fast hands. He was driving. You can see in the screen there, every stroke he's driving into that streamlined position. I'd like to see him keep his head a little bit lower for a little bit longer, but he does get into a really good position on each of those strokes, which is really, really good to see in a 200 breaststroke. And it's so important, that balance between efficiency and power in a 200 breaststroke is a real tough balance. I know it's something that I struggled with for a long time at 200 breaststroke. I used to go out really, really chilled, but then didn't have the capability of increasing my rate, increasing my tempo while still holding on to the water. And I realized after a few years that I needed to establish my rate on that second 50, and then a matter of build to this third and fourth 50.
Absolutely. So yeah, great swim there from Adam Wilson. I think he was a little bit disappointed with that swim. So as he touched the wall, he turned and looked up at that clock. I think maybe that 2:30 barrier was on his mind. But we are moving on to the junior final. So our Irish junior record is held by Owen Corby. So he'll be going on in the A final later. So that junior record, I don't think is any sort of jeopardy here in the in the junior final. Irish junior record held at 2:13.24. So we'll see what Corby can do later on in that A final. But running quickly down through the list of names in the junior final, we've got McGrath in 0, we've got Fain in 1, we've got Harvey in 2, we've got Moyo in 3. Benji Cummins takes lane number 4, fastest qualifier. He's in a 2:32.51. Mulhall takes lane number 5. We've got Black in 6. Cowgill in 7, we've got Cardwell in lane number 8, and we've got Jake Sweeney taking that final position in lane number 9.
Again, we've seen in the junior finals that people can drop time from outside lanes, so although Benji Cummins and John Mulhall are the 2 fastest qualifiers in 4 and 5, it'll be interesting to see if we can see anyone from the outside lanes drop considerable time in the final of this junior final.
I'm also interested to see how Zach Moyo gets on. He looked very strong in that heat swim, so he takes lane number 3. But we'll have a quick look at the field here as they move down this first 50 of the junior final of the men's 200 metre breaststroke. So again, we've got a variety of different strokes here. So definitely lane number 4 has that real drive that you were chatting about earlier, Nick, where he really shoots his head in between those shoulders, and he does grasp a lot of water on that kind of first 50.
Yeah, I'm actually just really looking at Benji's stroke there, and I really like it. I talked about Adam Wilson's stroke earlier, but I'd like to see his head a little bit lower for a little bit longer, and Benji's doing a really, really good job of that. He's turning first in a 32.2, and we'll see in this second 50, he keeps his head low right until the end of his in-sweep, just until his in-sweep, his elbows come in. That's when he lifts, and that's when he drives with his hips. So Benji looking really, really strong on this second 50, and he's opened a commanding lead in the rest of the field as they approach the 100 metre mark. Let's see what time he turns in here, India.
And we spoke a lot about that kind of sweep and I guess grasping the water, but it's also to do with that leg kick from behind. So we spoke about how the leg kick has definitely changed over the last year, and he definitely has that high hip position that we're looking for in breaststroke, but he's turning in a 1:08.57. So again, his entry time is a 2:32.51. So definitely looks like if he can maintain this speed, he'll be definitely breaking that 2:30 barrier in this junior final.
Yeah, that was a 36-50 split there. If he can do two more 36s, puts himself in that 220 range, so let's see what he can do here. But this is where he really hurts in a 200 breaststroke. You have to maintain the integrity of the stroke. You can see he's picked up his rate slightly here going into this third turn. I like to see that. You're looking in each of the 50s of a 200 breaststroke, you're looking to increase the rate, the second 25 of each 50, so that you're continuously building momentum the whole way through. He's turned in a 146.5. That's a 38.0, so he's dropped a little bit between the second and third 50s. But let's see what he can do in this last 50. He's definitely in command of this race.
Absolutely. We've got John Mulhall taking the second position and Zach Moyo coming in third, but it definitely does look like that it's Benji Cummins going to take this junior final. He's streets ahead of the rest of the pack. He's onto his final 25 metres. Again, definitely starting to pick up that stroke rate as he comes into the last 12 and a half, still grasping the water well. So again, his entry time is a 2:32.51. He's only at the 220 barrier now, so definitely look like he's going to be smashing that time. And he does. He finishes in a 2:25.94.
Yeah, strong swim there from Benji Cummins, 2:25.94. 7 seconds quicker than what he did this morning.
And that would have put him into the A final as well.
Yeah, that would have been, if he had done that this morning, he would have been in the A final, but I'd like to see him pace that race maybe a little bit better. He went 32, 36, 38, 39. It'd be good to see if he could keep those the three 350s from 2, 3 and 4 a little bit closer together, a little bit more consistent, and probably can actually go faster than that. But in second place there we had John Mulhall from Trojan in a 2:33.74, which is slightly slower. 2 seconds faster than his entry time, so a good swim from him. And then Zach Black, the Lurgan swimmer, also in 2:34.32, which is strong performance from him as well, and from lane 6. So all three of those guys improving on their times from this morning's swim.
All right, so we're moving on to the A final now of the men's 200-metre breaststroke. So again, we've got some interesting names coming up. We've got Dara Green taking lane number 4. He's our fastest qualifier in a 2:12.85. Again, he's our Irish senior record holder in a 2:10.05. So he'll be looking for his world qualification standard here. So actual qualification standard is at 2:10.32, but his consideration time is 2:11.63. So what kind of splits are we going to be looking for from Dara here?
Yeah, look, Dara's a really strong swimmer. On his best, his Irish senior record of 2:10.0, he splits 30.32.9, 33.33. So he'll be looking at in that 62 marker for the first 100. Puts him in a really strong position to swim a 2:10, 2:11 time. But I don't know. Owen has been looking really strong this meet. 2:16. I know that's a big drop to go from 2:16 down to 2:11, 2:10. But the way he swam that 100 was so efficient. He was 15, 16 strokes in the first 50, coming back in a 21 strokes. That's a really, really efficient 100. I think Owen could have a really good swim here. Whether he can actually challenge Dara or not sure. But I'm hoping for a good race. And then you've got Oisin Cook sandwiched in between the middle of them. He's been swimming 2:14s in season this year. He was 2:14 at Bucks. He's gone 2:14.4 again. His lifetime best is a 2:13. And he'll be looking to see if he can get qualification time for the under-23 championships, which are going to be held here in Dublin. And the time for that is a 2:12.6. So keep an eye out for that. But I'm just really excited. I know I'm biased, but I'm really excited to watch these two boys race. And then don't forget about Andrew Feenan. He's been moving from strength to strength as well. So he'll be looking to see if he can get in the mix here in this 200 breaststroke A final.
Absolutely, and Liam O'Connor also going to be looking for a summer qualification standard as well. But quickly running down through the list of names, we have Ben Naughton in 0, Lachlan Reid in 1, we've got Liam O'Connor in 2, Andrew Feenan takes 3, Dara Green again fastest qualifier, he takes lane number 4, Oisin Cook in 5, we've got Owen Corby in lane number 6, Matthew Hand in 7, we've got Patrick Curdy taking lane number 8, and Ronan Kilcoyne in lane 9. So go on, Nick, before we get started, who are you going to put on the podium here?
I think the podium will be Dara, Oisin and Owen. And I think it's going to be between Owen and Dara for the gold medal position. Dara looked really controlled this morning. Oisin had a little bit higher tempo, but I kind of like that. He established into his rate early. And then you've got Owen, who is just outside smoker there. I think he could have a really good challenge based on how his 100 went earlier in this meet. It's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, so they're off. So we have our A final of the men's 200-metre breaststroke. We've been looking forward to this one. So again, it probably is going to be Dara Green versus Owen Corby taking the gold medal position in this 200-metre breaststroke. So let's see how they take it on this first 50. Let's see what those splits are going to be.
Yeah, just like this morning's swim, Oisin has settled into his tempo. Look at the distance he's carrying on each of those strokes. He's fast through the hands, driving those hips. Coming into this 50, he just adjusted his stroke there to turn 29.9. 30.1 for Owen in second, and Dara fourth in a 31.0. So Dara taking this out slowly. Let's see what happens in this second 50, India.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, Cook really has an amazing distance for a stroke on every single stroke. I should have counted the number of strokes he took on that first 50, but it's really, really impressive swimming there. And lane number 6, we've got Owen Corby just gaining that little bit of ground, but it looks like Cook might just take that first 100 split. So interesting to see how the lads are going to take out this first 100. So hitting the wall well in a 103.56 and a 103.62.
Yeah, that's 33.6 for Oisin and the 33.4 for Owen. So those two boys are on it here. Owen looked like he really picked it up a little bit in this third 50, and he's taking the lead. I think Owen is in a really, really strong position here, and that 2:11.6 consideration time for Worlds could be on the cards.
Yeah, amazing action shot there from our 3 leaders here. Coming down the main pack, we've got 4 swimmers really going head to head. Dara's looking like he's gaining a little bit of ground here coming into this third 50. So it's all going to be about this last 50, but Owen Corby taking that last turn. So it's going to be an interesting race down this last 50.
Yeah, 33.9 from Owen. A big third 50 from Dara, 33.3. Dara's going to pick up his rate here and is going to charge hard. This is going to be some finish down this last 25 metres. Here comes Dara, but Owen is going to try and hold him off. Oisin is fading a little bit in the middle lanes, but here comes Dara. Can Owen hold him off, India?
I don't know, it's going to be really tight in this last 12 and a half. Dara definitely looks like he's gaining a little bit of ground. Owen Corby really digging in as much as he possibly can. We've got some fantastic swims here, finishing in a final touch. Dara Green taking it in a 2:12.17. Owen Corby 2:12.24, and Oisin Cook taking third in a 2:13.85.
and we had a reverse of the 100 breaststroke there. In the 100 breaststroke, it was Dara who was leading the race with Owen charging hard in the second 50, and we just did the reverse there. Owen was leading the race at 150, but Dara a big last split of 33.4 to just overtake Owen and get the touch in the win there in first in 2:12.17 ahead of Owen in 2:12.2.
Yeah, I don't know how happy Dara is with that swim. He didn't look too happy as he looked up at the clock, so definitely be interesting to see. Definitely have a chat with Dara later on to see how he felt in that race, but really, really strong back half of that race, to be fair to him. I think he might have just taken out just a little bit too slow on that first 50, turning on a 31 low, was it?
Yeah, 31.0, it's tough. You put yourself in a tough position to try and go 2:11 off a 31.0 first 50, and I mean, he gave himself a very good chance with I think he must have been a 66 high, 107 low back end 100, which is fast second 100, but maybe just left himself a little bit too much work in the second 100. Owen looked strong to that third 50. He was a 33 point, but he just tied up a little bit coming down that last 25, which allowed Dara to get ahead. But as you said, they're just outside the consideration time for Worlds, which is 2:11.6. So not sure how happy they will be, but it was a really, really exciting race, and there was some atmosphere there. Oisin Cook was right in the mix as well, right the way through the race, but ended up coming third with Dara charging hard and Owen taking control of the race in the middle 100.
Absolutely, the lads did not disappoint when it came to excitement here in the NAC. Had pretty much the entire crowd on their feet, really wishing them all into the wall below that kind of world consideration time. But we are moving on to our final event of the evening. So this is the women's 200 metre IM. So in that final heat, we will have Ellen Walsh taking that centre lane. So she's our fastest qualifier in a 2:13.00. So definitely know she's on form, taking that Irish senior record in that 100 fly. And we were chatting to her earlier in the week, and she definitely has been focusing a lot of her training towards this 200 IM as well. So the actual Irish senior record is held by Ellen herself. That was a fantastic swim back in 2021 where she set a 2:12.02, and she was looking comfortable in her heat swim this morning. I think she definitely went for it this morning, but I think Ellen is definitely an evening performer as well. So it'd be interesting to see how much she has left in the tank for this final swim tonight.
Yeah, like we know Ellen's been in great form, swimming that 57 Irish senior record in the 100 fly. Would have loved to have seen her swim a final of that 400 IM, but unfortunately got that DQ. Would have been great. I think she would have had a really good chance of taking down that long-standing Irish senior record. But she's been in great form even coming into this meet. She swam 2:12 in Edinburgh International. She swam 2:12 in Bangor in the 200 IM. So I think her own Irish senior record of 2:12.0 could be under threat here, and that would also be a standard for the 200 IM at the World Championships. But before that, we have the B final of this 200 IM.
Yeah, so just quickly running down through the list of names, we have Saturday Nagy taking lane 0. We've got Saoirse Dorgan in lane number 1. We've got Brianna Chamberlain in lane number 2. Hannah O'Connor takes lane number 3. Beth Nolan, our fastest qualifier, the Sunday's well swimmer, in a 2:31.21. Niamh Putney takes lane number 5. We have an empty lane there in lane number 6. We've got Megan Diamond taking lane number 7, Georgina Walker in 8, and Shauna Murphy in lane number 9. So who have you got in the lead here, Nick, turning in this first 50?
It looks like it's Beth Nolan, but maybe Niamh Putney in lane 5 just came through in the last 7 metres there to touch with their neck and neck. There's very little between them at that first 50, just 0.13 of a second, but it is Beth Nolan with really strong underwaters on that back row leg who has the slight lead over Beth Nolan. I always find these IM races are really interesting because you see the different strengths of all of the swimmers, whether that's a back roll or a breaststroke or fly or freestyle. You can see the lead change very quickly, so it'll be interesting to see how these two girls do out in front on the breaststroke leg.
Absolutely. So we always talk about kind of having that first 50 fly is controlled but fast. Then we don't want to switch off on this back row leg, and especially use it to your advantage if you do have a strong back row leg. But it's usually the breaststroke leg that will separate the field here. So it'll be interesting to see who has really been working on that 50 metre breaststroke. But we do have our clear 2 leaders. So Niamh is just touching again in lane number 5. We also have lane number 4 just sitting on her shoulders here. So let's see what the kind of split times we can do for this 50 metre breaststroke as well.
Yeah, it looks like Beth Nolan, the Sunday Wells swimmer, is just pulling ahead of her competitor from Ard's, Niamh Putney, on this breaststroke leg. But there's a real battle for third place here. There's a blanket across 6 or 7 of the swimmers, but it looks like it's lane 9, the Dolphin swimmer Shauna Murphy, who might be in that bronze medal position, or not a bronze medal position, it's a B final, but the 3rd position in this race. But it's a race on this freestyle leg between Beth Nolan and Niamh Putney. Who do you think it's going to be, India?
Looks like Niamh does have a good front crawl sprint here, but it pretty much does look neck and neck. Looks like it's going to be a pretty even swim, but it looks like lane number 5 might just have a couple of shoulder lengths ahead of her competitor in lane number 4. So it's really just about putting your head down now, girls, using that leg kick and driving yourself into the wall. But I think we're going to be breaking those heat swim times of a 2:31 was our entry time here, and 2:32, and it's Niamh Putney of lane number 5 taking the win. Really strong swim there, 2:27.50, so nearly 4 seconds off that entry time.
Yeah, both those girls improving significantly on the heat times, going sub 2:30, 2:27.5 for Niamh, 2:29.0 for Beth, and then 3rd place was the ESB swimmer Saoirse Dorgan, 2:29.51, which is also a strong swim for her, taking almost 5 seconds or more than 5 seconds off her heat swim. So really good performance from those 3 girls, and it was a really good race between lanes 4 and lane 5. Niamh Putney and Beth Nolan, they were head to head for most of the race, but Niamh just had enough on that freestyle leg to take the win.
Absolutely, it's a fantastic swim from all 3 girls there. And just kind of looking down through these records, so again we had Ellen Walsh, the Irish senior record holder. We've got Gráinne Murphy, long-standing record for that Irish junior record, so we'll have our junior final coming up next. But we actually have Katinka Hossu as our meet record holder in a 2:12.00, the Iron Lady, coming over to Dublin to swim that back in 2013. So really strong swim from Katinka as well. We know that she's a bit of a powerhouse when it comes to all events, really.
Yeah, absolutely. She's the world record holder in this event. That 2:06 was really fast. I remember I was racing here when she was here in 2013. There was just a small team of, I think, her and maybe 2 others, and I think she pretty much raced every single event. She came here for a 5-day meet and swam everything. But I guess that's why she has the moniker, the Iron Lady. She literally would go to World Championships, she'd go to the World Cups and would rack up as many points by trying to win every race. So she was a real world-class swimmer for many years. Has fallen a little bit off the radar in the last couple of years, but no one can take away the work that she did, and she's an absolute idol. If you go over to Hungary, they absolutely love her over there, and understandably so, considering how many Olympic medals and World Championship medals she won throughout her career.
Absolutely, I remember swimming beside her once and being extremely intimidated that day when it came to my racing. But we're moving on to the junior final now. So again, that Irish junior record held by Gráinne Murphy back in 2009, so that's a 2:13.64. So don't know if that's going to be broken in our junior final today. But just quickly running down through the list of names, we've got Amy Noble in 0, we've got Clara Doherty in 1, Niamh Connery in lane number 2, Lucy O'Brien takes lane number 3, Aoife Doran is our fastest qualifier in this junior final. She is the Aer Lingus swimmer of qualifying time of 2:30.51. We've got Megan Jones taking lane number 5. We've got Ciara Aiken taking lane number 6. Lexi Dunn in 7. Michelle O'Shea in lane number 8. And Jessica Purcell in lane number 9. So again, interesting to see what strengths each of these girls have. But again, it's all of those strokes combined, which is what's going to see our clear leader and who's going to dominate that field.
Yeah, and for these junior swimmers, they'll get out of this final, but junior swimmers and anyone watching at home, be good to watch Ellen in the race coming up. She's a real world-class 200 IM. That is what the event that she qualified for the Tokyo Olympics in, and it's really important watching her skills, watching her transitions, watching that back to breast turn. What is the most efficient way to do it? What's the efficient way to get around the wall? Because when it gets to these international level meets, whether that's a junior or a senior, the small margins between finishing well, turning well, are the difference between PBs and winning medals. So let's see what these junior girls can do in this 200 IM final.
So we are in the water again for our junior final, the women's 200 metre IM. So again, this first 50 is all just about setting their pace for themselves, so not taking it too hard, but definitely getting a good position as they turn onto the back roll, and again, not wanting to switch off on the back roll as well. So good action shot there from the camera. We've kind of got a bit of a blanket race, but it does look like lane number 6 or lane number 1 might just take the touch on this first 50 metres. So they're going to be looking to go kind of low 30 points here on their first 50. And we've got a 30.69 from Ciara Aiken at the Irish swimmer in lane number 6.
Yeah, strong first 50 there from Ciara Aiken, and good underwaters, transitioning into this back roll leg. So she has about a half a body length or more than half a body length lead at this stage. But watch out, Megan Jones is charging very hard in this second 50. and she's got a strong breaststroke pedigree. The Portmarnock swimmer, we've seen her race a lot. So Megan Jones, if she's in control of this race at the 100 metre mark, I think it might be difficult for the rest of the girls to beat her, but let's see what happens. It is Megan Jones in 5 who might touch first, but also lane 4, Aoife Doran, the Aer Lingus swimmer. Let's see who it's going to be.
We have a strong swim there from lane number 1 as well, one of our outside swimmers, so that's Clara Doherty. She's also just a little bit slower on that back row leg, 38.66, but she did gain a little bit of ground after that butterfly leg, and she seems to be maintaining it there, but it definitely looks like we've got a battle here between lane 5 and lane 4. So lane 5 just slightly in the lead, that's Megan Jones. Again, like you said, Nick, she's got a strong breaststroke leg, but it does look like Aoife Doran might just be holding on to her shoulders here.
Yeah, Aoife's doing well to hold on to her, but Megan is maybe just starting to pull away a bit. She's swimming with a little bit higher tempo. I love that she's getting into a nice streamlined position with each of her strokes, and she is going to turn in first place at this 150 metre mark. We've seen her in some freestyle finals already, so it'll be a tough ask for any of the other girls to catch her on this last leg.
Yeah, I think she knows now, Megan Jones. She's dominating the final leg of this 200 metre IM. All she needs to do is maintain this pace, get a good kick behind her. Again, her entry time, Megan Jones, she takes lane 5. She has an entry time of 2:30.52 from her heat swim this morning. She's only at the 2:11 mark now, so it looks like she will be breaking that 2:30 barrier for this 200 metre IM junior final. So final few metres now for the swimmers. Again, looks like our Aer Lingus swimmer is going to take that second position, but it is Megan Jones taking the gold in the junior final in a 2:25.15. Strong swim there.
Yeah, very impressive performance there from Megan Jones, 2:25. Just ahead of Aoife Doran in 2:26.7. That's also 4 seconds quicker than her entry time, so strong swimming from Aoife Doran there. And Niamh Connery, the Shark swimmer, in 2:29.02, taking third place in that junior final. A good swim from her as well, improving on her heat or her time from this morning. But when Megan Jones turned at 100 metres, slightly in front, I knew she has breaststroke and freestyle pedigree, and it was going to be hard for the other girls to match her on that second 100, and that's how it played out. But leads us nicely into this A final. It's definitely one of the races that I've been most excited to see, especially once we saw Ellen swim that 57 in the 100 fly. She's in form. She's been in form all season, swimming 2:12s, which is right on her best. Her Irish senior record, which she did to qualify for Tokyo, is 2:12.02. She's been swimming 2:12s in Bangor and in Edinburgh International, so I really think that could be under threat in this final here.
Yeah, absolutely. We know she is on form, like you said, in that 100 fly final, doing that Irish senior record in just a heat swim of 58 full second, and then breaking it further to bring it down to that 57 barrier in her final swim. So we know that she is also a performer in the evening as well. She knows how to take it out that little bit faster, especially when she has kind of all eyes on her. She comes into the final event of the 4th day of the Irish Open Championships, but I think she can maintain that pressure. I think she's a very, very strong girl under that kind of pressure. So again, she is our fastest qualifier here in a 2:13.00. But just quickly run down through the rest of the names. They're up there on screen for you now. But we've got Hannah O'Shea in 0. We've got Hannah McCabry in lane number 1. We've got Isabel Kidney taking lane number 2. Grace Davison, our 16-year-old from Ard, she takes lane number 3. Again, Ellen Walsh, lane number 4. Really excited to see this race. Ellie McCartney takes lane number 5. Naomi Trait takes 6. Danielle Farrell takes lane number 7. We've got Paige Austin Burrows in lane number 8. And we've got Ava Jones in lane number 9. So great to see Ellen swimming the 200, especially after that disappointing disqualification in the 400 IM as well, Nick.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing. I'm just noticing as you're reading through the list there, India, both Hannah O'Shea and Hannah McCabry's in lane 0 and 1 are fresh out of the 200 fly. That is not an easy double, going 200 fly, 200 IM, so hats off to those two girls, see what they can do on the near side of the pool. But all of the action and all the eyes will be focused on Ellen Walsh in lane 4. Let's not forget about Grace Davison. She's been having a really, really strong meet, breaking the Irish junior record in both the 50 and the 100 freestyle. So we know she'll be strong on that freestyle leg, but it really is going to be Ellen versus the clock to see if she can go under that 2:12.0, her own Irish senior record. I think for her, we know she's got that fly speed coming off that 57 in the 100 fly. She went a 61.8 at Edinburgh International to win the 100 back. I'd never seen her swim that fast before, so she's got backup pedigree. It's that 50 breaststroke is going to be the big one, and then she'll hold on in the freestyle. So let's see what she can do here in the A final of the women's 200 IM.
Yeah, glad to see we still have a little bit of a crowd here at the NAC out in Dublin, so hopefully we can all get behind Ellen here. I'm sure she's going to be really going for it here. That Irish senior record again, 2:12.02, which is set by herself. Like you said, Nick, we know she's got a strong first 50, that 50 fly. I'm sure we're going to see a fantastic turn on that first 50. We're going to see a fantastic split, and it's probably not even going to phase her that much.
No, absolutely. The first 50 of a 200 fly, or a 200 IM, has to be nice and controlled. 27.3, that is fast. On her Irish senior record, she was out in a 28.0, so 27.3. She is going for this here. This is going to be an exciting 200 IM. Let's go, Ellen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she knows that she's going to be dominating the field. So we do have in lane number 5, we've got Ellie McCartney, but it already is all eyes on Ellen Walsh as she takes this 50-metre backstroke. So again, we're going to be looking at those splits. Like you said, Nick, she's already taken out a little bit faster on that Irish senior record that she's held. So she's looking strong, she's looking controlled, and this breaststroke leg is going to be exciting as well.
She is on. This is on for Ellen here to go into this Irish senior record. 61.1. That's a 33.7 back row split. That is so fast. Let's see if Ellen can split a 38 or a 37 even here on this breaststroke. If she does, she puts herself in a fantastic position to go well under that 200 IM Irish senior record. Let's go, Ellen. Hold on to your stroke in this breaststroke, and then let's see what she's got on the freestyle leg.
Absolutely, we've got the crowd going here. We've got Andrew Bree really trying to get the crowd going for Ellen as we come into the final few metres of this third 50. So this is the 50-metre breaststroke. Ellie McCartney definitely gaining a little bit of ground in her here, but it's definitely going to be Ellen's race here. So she's turning in a 39.70. All she needs to do is really hammer down. We know her underwaters are fantastic as she turns into this last 50 front crawl, and we can see her really pushing now, can't we, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. We need to see a strong last 50 here from Ellen. That 39.7, she would have been looking for maybe a little bit faster on that breaststroke split, but she had a blistering fast first 100. With 15 metres to go, let's see what she can do here, folks. Ellen Walsh, Irish senior record of 2:12.0. Get your head down, Ellen. It's going to be a 2:12.93, so just outside her Irish senior record. But by my reckoning, that is an A standard qualification, or an A standard qualification time for Worlds. So that's further cementing her position on the plane for Fukuoka in Japan.
Yeah, I don't think she's too happy with that swim. 2:12.93. She was definitely going for that Irish senior record, but Ellie McCartney taking the silver there in a 2:14.93, and Grace Davison taking third in a 2:17.78. So I think maybe, do you think she took it out a little bit too hard and then just kind of struggled towards the end of that race, Nick?
Yeah, that 27.3 first 50 in the fly split is very fast. Like, that's very fast. India, you're a 50 fly specialist. I think taking out a 200 IM and a 27.3, we obviously know she has so much speed coming from that 100 fly, but even still you have to just be that quite controlled over that first 50 and then really push that middle 100. She's still in the pool there, you can see her, so she's very tired and maybe not that happy with that race, but that should secure her spot, if it wasn't already secured, on the 100 fly in Fukuoka in Japan, and she can get her head down and keep working at that and see if she can go sub that 2:12 in the summer.
Absolutely, and I think you nailed it on the head there, Nick, in regards to kind of just taking it maybe just a little bit too fast in that 50 fly, but I guess we're never really surprised at the times that Ellen can take out on the 50 fly, because it was the same with her 100 fly. I was commentating on it in the heat swim, and she went out in a 27.1, and I basically spoke as if it was nothing going out that fast on the 100 fly, so kind of seeing her turn there on the 27 low as well, 27.3, kind of just considered that that's just the form that she's on that fly leg. But yeah, I don't think she's too happy about that race, but again, she's such a fantastic swimmer. She's had such a busy schedule, and to be able to still come home in a 2:12.93, so still breaking that 2:13 barrier, we still have to congratulate Ellen on that swim.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an A standard for the World Championships. That's not easily done, and I know, but it just goes to show you the calibre athlete that she is, that she's swimming an A standard, qualifying for a World Championships, but is walking out of the pool not happy. And it just shows the strong position she is in heading into the summer. She has the potential to probably swim 3 different events at the Olympic Games next year, between the 100 fly, 200 IM and 400 IM. So she's just so talented, and her next 2 years look really bright and exciting for her.
Absolutely, and we already know that she is that world-class swimmer, so alongside her teammate Mona McSharry as well. So we've both got 2 swimmers there that are world-class athletes in their own events. But We're going to move on to the 200 medley now. We've got our time trial here. We've got Dervla Brady coming into lane number 3. We've got Nicole Turner in lane number 4. We've got Shiva Brady taking lane number 5 as we go in for the women's 200 metre IM. They're going to be looking for major championship qualifying times as well. We also have Roisin Rian, actually. Sorry, she's out there in lane number 7. She's just not listed here as well.
And just before this race starts, I want to call out Ellie McCartney. I think that's a 2:14.93 is a really big PB for her, and it's a consideration time, if I'm right, for the European Under-23 Championships. So really, really strong swim. She didn't let Ellen away with that on that 200 IM at all. So an exciting summer for her, and congratulations getting that silver place. But we do have this 200 IM time trial between Dervla Brady, Nicole Turner and Shiva Brady. So let's get behind these girls and see what time they can do.
Yeah, so we're off in the water here. We don't have Roisin Rian on the programme, so let's just see if she will also be swimming the 200 IM, so she's gone off on that fly leg as well. I think actually Roisin, I think she was disqualified maybe in the heat swim this morning. I'm speaking wrong there, but she's getting back in for another 200 metre IM swim this evening as well. So we've also got Dervla Brady in lane number 3, Nicole Turner in lane 4, and Shiva Brady in lane number 5. This is the final swim of our 4th day of Irish Open Championship, so let's get behind these girls.
Yeah, you can see Roisin there out in the outside lane, lane 7, turning the 30.72, so a really strong first 50 from her. You can see on the board, you can't see it on your screens, but we've got SM6 consideration times, SM8 consideration times, and SM3 consideration times, which is for the World Para Championships, which are taking place in Manchester later on this summer. So all of these girls will have those consideration standards in their mind. I know Roisin Rian, Nicole Turner and Roisin Rian have definitely met the minimum consideration standard, so they'll just be using this as a training swim to work hard, refine their tactics, and then head to Manchester and race fast in the summer.
Absolutely. We've got Roisin Rian turning there. Her first 100 already split in a 1:09, so she's looking strong. I'm not sure again of her entry time. We haven't got it here on the programme, but hopefully she is swimming a strong event here. We've got Nicole Turner just about to split at that first 100 metres as well. She turns in a 1:32.99, so her entry time is a 3:16.60. So again, we're going to look for a strong breaststroke and front crawl leg from the 3 girls here in lane 3, 4 and 5. Again, Shiva Brady just turning there in a 1:38.84, and Dervla Brady in a 1:47.43.
Yeah, this is a really, really, really strong swim here from Roisin Rian in lane 7. We know she's been in flying form over the last couple of years, really. She's really broken onto the scene. She's based in Limerick, down in the National Centre in Limerick, and she's broke a world record in a couple of events over the last couple of years, so she's been in flying form. She's a visually impaired athlete, but she's really flying in this 200 IM. Let's see what time, as you said, India, we don't have an entry time for her here, but let's see what time she touches the wall here at the end of this 200 IM.
Yeah, she's looking really strong as she finishes that last 5 minutes, really putting her head down, and she finishes really well in a 2:28.78, so not easy to swim off on her own there, so really congratulations there to Roisin Rian. But just turning now, we've got Nicole Turner coming into her last kind of 30 metres. She's sprinting down well on this 50 front crawl. Again, her entry time, we've got 3:16.60. We just have Shiva Brady turning there in lane number 5 in a 2:43.50, and we've got Dervla just coming in to touch onto her final 50 as well.
Yeah, and it is Nicole Turner, our Paralympic medalist in the 50 flies, coming in to touch now. So let's see if she can get under that heat swim she swam this morning, which is a 3:16.00. Let's see what time Nicole touches in here. It is going to be a 3:14.00. That's 2.6 seconds faster than she went this morning. So really, really strong swimmer from the NAC athlete, backing up her heat swim from this morning and getting a really, really strong swim in ahead of those World Championships where she's going to be racing in Manchester later this summer.
Absolutely. Looks like Shiva Brady might be breaking her time as well, just underneath as well, 3:33.12. Her entry time of a 3:33.64. So again, fantastic to be going below that time from her entry time this morning. And we've got lane number 3, we've got Dervla Brady just finishing in now. Again, her entry time 3:53.62, and she finishes in a 3:49.09. So fast times from all 4 girls there.
Yeah, brilliant swimming there from Dervla, getting under her heat time. She's had a busy program. We saw her swim the 100 back crawl time trial earlier on in the meet, where she also, or earlier on in this session, so she's went 100 back, 200 IM double, which is not an easy double. It's never easy to do a double full stop, never mind what event they are, but 100 back, 200 IM is definitely not an easy one. But she improved her 100 back time from this morning, and now she's just after improving her 200 IM time from this morning. So running you through those results again, you have Roisin Ureen in first, winning that heat in a 2:28.78. Nicole Turner 3:14.00. Shifa Brady 3:33.12, and Dervla Brady 3:49.09, bringing up, improving their times from the heat session. So great swimming from all those girls there, and that wraps up our session today. India, what was your highlight?
Highlight from today, I really enjoyed Ellen Walsh's swim there, so it was fantastic to get the whole crowd behind her. I know she was disappointed with that swim, but you also can't take away that 200-metre breaststroke either. That was a really good race between the lads, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the race of the night was probably that 200 breaststroke. It was really tight. You had a big change in change in leader between Oisin, Dara and Owen, and Dara getting the touch, but I was really impressed with Conor Ferguson. Delighted to see him getting back to that PB level, 54.0, getting that consideration time this morning and then backing it up again in that final, and hopefully booking his seat on the plane to Fukuoka in Japan. And it'd be lovely to see him get under that 54 point in Japan.
Absolutely, it was a fantastic swim from Conor as well, let's not forget that. So we are going to move over to the presentations. That is the women's 200-metre butterfly presentation, men's 200-metre breaststroke, and the women's 200-metre IM. So that's all the events we have for tonight, folks. So thank you for everyone that has listened in. Thank you from myself, from Nick, and hopefully we'll see you all again for day 5 of the Irish Open Championships tomorrow at the National Aquatic Centre.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter Conway, Chair of Swim Ireland, for presenting these junior medals this evening. In the women's 200 butterfly, a bronze medal to Sophia Quickly of Ards. We're just collecting the medal now. Congratulations, Sophia. Silver medal to Hannah Malloy of Trojan Swimming Club. Congratulations, Hannah. And a junior gold medal this evening in 200 butterfly to Alana Burns-Atkin of Banbridge. Congratulations, Alana. Thank you very much, Peter Conway. Thank you, ladies. Our next presentation will be for our senior medalists in the women's 200-metre butterfly. Could I have Hannah O'Shea and Sharon Semchi, please? So our senior medals will be presented by Niamh O'Sullivan, Director of High Performance at Sport Ireland. Thank you very much, Niamh. A bronze medal senior to Hannah O'Shea of Dolphin for this women's 200-metre butterfly. Silver medalist tonight is Sharon Semchi of Sundays Well. Congratulations, Hannah, and to Sharon. And 2023 Irish National Champion Women's 200-metre butterfly is Alana Burns-Atkin of Banbridge. Congratulations, Alana, and thank you very much, Niamh O'Sullivan, for presenting these medals. Looking for our junior medalists now in the men's 200 breaststroke. Could we have Ronan Kilcoyne, Liam O'Connor and Matthew Hand? Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, so these are our junior medalists for the men's 200 breaststroke. Peter Conway is going to present these medals. Thank you very much, Peter. Bronze medal to Ronan Kilcoyne of National Centre Limerick and Sligo. Silver medalist junior is Liam O'Connor of Terenure. Congratulations to Ronan and to Liam. And gold medalist junior category 200 metre breaststroke is Matthew Hand from National Centre Ulster and Ards. Well done, Matthew. Thank you very much, Peter. Now we're looking for our senior medalists. Okay, can we also have our 200 IM ladies? So could I have last call, Oshin Cook, Owen Corby, Dara Green, Ava Jones, Isabel Kidney, Grace Davison, Ellie McCartney, Ellen Walsh. I can see our 200 IM ladies beginning to appear. So we are waiting for some medalists to appear, please, gentlemen and ladies. Oshin Cook, Owen Corby, Dara Green, and then Ava Jones, Isabel Kidney, Grace Davison, Ellie McCartney, and Ellen Walsh. I can see Ellen, thank you, and I can see Isabel. I can see Grace, Ava Jones and Ellie McCartney, Owen Corby. I think we're going to go with the senior ladies 200 metre individual medley. Thank you, ladies. So could I have Grace, Ellie and Ellen over here to the podium, please? You can see our senior girls here for the 200 IM. We're going to present their medals. Thank you very much, ladies. Neve O'Sullivan is going to present these medals. Thank you, ladies. Grace on 3, Ellie on 2, and Ellen on 1, please. Yes. So these are our senior medalists for the women's 200 metre IM. Neve O'Sullivan kindly presenting our medals. Bronze medal to Grace Davison of National Centre Ulster and Ards. Just Ards. Silver medalist is Ellie McCartney, this time of National Centre Ulster and Ards. And 2023 Irish National Champion Women's 200 metre individual medley is Ellen Walsh from Temple Ogue. Thanks very much to Neve for presenting these medals. We're going to now present the junior medalists in our women's 200 IM. So can I have Ava Jones, Isabel Kidney and Grace Davison. So a junior bronze goes to Ava Jones from Portmarnock. Congratulations, Ava. Thanks very much to Peter Conway. Junior silver medal goes to Isabel Kidney of Sundays Well. Congratulations, Isabel. And gold junior medalist this evening is Grace Davison of Ards. Thank you very much, Peter Conway, for presenting these medals. Congratulations, ladies. And our last presentation this evening is to our senior men 200 metre breaststroke. Looking for Oshin Cook, Owen Corby and Dara Green. Medals will be presented by Neve O'Sullivan, Director of High Performance at Sport Ireland. Thank you very much, Neve. Our bronze medalist this evening is Oshin Cook of Tuam Swimming Club. Thank you, Neve. Congratulations, Oshin. Silver medalist this evening is Owen Corby of National Centre Limerick and Limerick. And 2023 Irish National Champion men's 200 metre breaststroke is Dara Green, National Centre Dublin, Longford. Congratulations, gentlemen. Thanks very much to Neve O'Sullivan for presenting the medals, and to Mr. Peter Conway also. That completes our medal presentation for this evening. Thank you, everyone.